Will Jacks, Laurie Evans, who of course is loaned at the moment from Sussex. He signed a 2-year contract at the start of, I guess, next season, so he's on loan. He won't play against Sussex in either the Bob Willis Trophy or the Blast, but he plays in this one. So Laurie Evans is down to bat at 3. Ben Folkes, the wicket-keeper, who's been in decent touch. Rory Burns, Scott Borthwick, Gus Atkinson, Gareth Batty, 42 years young. He'll be 43 on the 13th of October. He's the skipper. Daniel Moriarty is a left-arm spinner. Reece Topley is also back, and Matt Dunn. So Surrey strengthening up with the returning Reece Topley and Hashim Amla, but it won't faze Daniel Drummond at all. A little bit earlier, I caught up with him. Great performances in the first 2 games. How frustrating that you've yet to get a win on the board.
Yeah, it's been very frustrating. We obviously played such good cricket in those 2 games, but it was frustrating we couldn't get over the line against Middlesex, and yeah, obviously the weather didn't help us in the first game against Hampshire, but no, we're looking forward to this one today.
And from a personal point of view though, runs in both, hitting the ball beautifully. You've got Zach Crawley up the other end. That partnership is already bearing fruit.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it batting with him since he's come back from the test team. You can tell how confident he is, and it's just showing in his game, and it's helping me, trying to bring me up to that level as well. So no, he's been brilliant, and he'll continue to be so for us in this competition.
You say bring you up to that level. I mean, you've been terrific in this format for a number of years. Do you feel sometimes when you go out in white ball cricket, particularly the T20, shackles are off? You haven't got to worry about your off stump or your defensive game. You can just see ball and let all that talent come out.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that's a massive thing. It's almost the other way in T20. You have to get on with it, otherwise there's a problem. So no, I really enjoy it, and it's one of those, when it comes off it looks brilliant, and then there's other days where you could be out first ball, but that's the good thing about T20. You have to keep moving on and just focus on the next game and be brave, so I really enjoy it.
And relishing the challenge of the captaincy as well?
Yeah, I've enjoyed it actually. Obviously I've been given a lot of guidance by the guys. Obviously Billings is away with England, but he's been helping me, and obviously with the coaches as well. But no, I've really enjoyed it. Good group of guys to captain as well. So and I like to think I'm got a decent cricket brain. So all in all, I've really enjoyed it.
Let's just focus on today's game, because today's opponents, Surrey, it was only last week you were bidding them in the Bob Willis Trophy. Does that count for anything psychologically, that victory?
Not really. Obviously it's great to beat Surrey always, but I think it's a different format. They've got some different names coming back, so have we. So it will be different in that aspect. But no, we're looking forward to it. And like I say, we've had a brilliant start in this competition without the points. So no, we're looking forward to continue that good cricket today and hopefully get our first win on the board.
You get a sense with the Bob Willis Trophy that it's about planning for next year. The T20 Blast feels like a competition that everyone really wants to win this year. Does it feel like that in the change rooms?
Absolutely. Obviously there's not as much health problems, like having the bowlers bowling so much in the 4-day stuff with quick turnover. Obviously that becomes an issue for their injury wise, but in this competition not really. We've had quite a while to prepare since lockdown finished, so no, it's a big competition for us. Obviously we're missing a few players, hopefully some will come back soon, but no, we're really looking forward to it, and we know when we play our best cricket we're a very good side in the South Group, so we're trying to win it just as much as any other year.
Thanks for speaking to us. Good luck today.
Thanks Dave, cheers.
Drummond, captain, of course, in the absence of Sam Billings. Steve, you've spoken to Daniel a lot over the years. You would have interviewed him quite a few times. It seems to me that he's really kind of growing in stature. He's one of the senior guys in this team now, and it seems that responsibility sits easily on those shoulders.
It does. He'd be one of the quieter members, wouldn't he, of the squad? He'd be one of the quieter professional cricketers you can think of, but he seems to, I do quite like this, this kind of quiet authority, and he had a pretty good spell. Remember last season he was captain at the early part of the T20 Blast and things went pretty well for him. This season it's obviously been a frustrating start, as we mentioned, against Hampshire. He would have loved a win up at Lords, of course. Kent did look like they were going to get there, but I want to ask you actually, as a former Kent captain, is there any reason why the quieter man, not necessarily the quiet man, but the quieter man can't have good authority from the front?
Absolutely not. I mean, I wouldn't have been one of those quieter men, I guess. But Daniel Drummond, I think he's been really impressive. You don't have to scream and shout to be a captain. You lead by example. He leads with the way he carries himself. He's professional. He scores his runs, but sometimes just a quiet word in someone's ear rather than the big Churchillian speech can be the way to go. And my guess, not having seen him captain kind of up close and personal, would be that would be his preferred method. He's well liked, he's well respected, and I think he brings a certain amount of gravitas to that role. So he's dedicated. He's also a very fine player, and that mustn't be overlooked either. I was just looking at his white ball numbers. He averages over 30 in 2020 cricket, 120 50s. The strike rate of 133 is not shabby either. So whether it's Joe Denley up the other end or Zach Crawley up the other end, when it's his day, he can take the pressure off those guys.
And as you say, very well liked, very well respected. It'd be hard push, wouldn't you, to find someone to give you a bad word about Daniel Bell-Drummond. And the early signs, only 2 games in, 1.5 games in from the Blast so far this year, his own form is looking good. We were mentioning just a few moments ago, we'll bang on about Zach, of course we will, but Daniel Bell-Drummond has looked very good so far.
Yeah, he has. 28 unbeaten in that rain-affected game against Hampshire, but that knock at Lord's, 72 off 32, in pursuit of a victory target of 210, you need to get off to a flyer. 72 off 32, 8 fours, 4 sixes. He's brought that power element to his game, and he scores all round the wicket. So he's a one hell of a foil for the likes of Zach Crawley or Joe Denley. But he's also got that responsibility of captaining. And when you see a young guy go and captain, he's 27 now, Daniel. He's been around for a long time. But when you take on that mantle of captain, it's important it doesn't affect your batting, and it doesn't seem to. But we're just going to remind you of the Kent team now that Daniel Bell-Drummond announced at the toss, and who better to bring it to you than one of our junior Kent girls' sides.
Zach Crawley. Ring that bell, Daniel Bell-Drummond. Hino Coombe.
Alex Blake.
Jack Leaning.
Jordan Cox. Grant Stewart. Tim Groenevold. Matt Mills.
Fred Klassen. Imran Kayoum. Go Kent!
So thanks to our sponsors and partners for their continued support. The good news here is that the weather is set fair, unlike round 1 against Hampshire when rain cruelly intervened, with Kent on the brink of victory. That tie at Middlesex in round 2 means they could do with a victory here. Daniel Bell-Drummond has done his bit so far, won the toss, opted to bowl first. What does Kent head coach Matt Walker make of their progress so far? Matt, I'll ask the same question that I asked to Daniel Bell-Drummond, which is, you've played terrific cricket in these first 2 matches, and frustrating not to yet get a win on the board.
Yes, I think looking at the outcomes, they weren't what we wanted. But if you take a step back from that and look at the performance and the processes, very pleased. In fact, really pleased. Probably the most pleased I've been all year, actually. All the cricket we've played some good cricket. To come straight into this competition and hit the ground running, I thought it'd been excellent. It hasn't been perfect. two very different games. I thought Hampshire we were almost perfect, and Middlesex was a different challenge, but I thought we showed some brilliant skill. Yeah, we should have won both games, albeit for weather in the first game, which can't help, I guess. And we were there in that last over, needing a few runs to win, which 19 times out of 20 you probably get home. And that's the beauty of T20 cricket. You know, you've got to go all the way and seal the deal. But it's frustrating. We probably should have 4 points from 4. As it is, we've got 2. But yeah, we're unbeaten, and we've played some really good cricket. So lots of confidence to go into these next few games, and it'd be nice to get over the line and get a win.
You haven't got Sam Billings or Joe Denley with you, so how pleased in their absence with the form of Zach Crawley, who comes off that England performance, and also Daniel Bell Drummond, who looks like a different player in white ball cricket?
Yeah, well, always great to have Zach back. I mean, whenever you get your England players or a England player back, it's a real boost. The fact that he wanted to come straight back in and play after a busy Test match, and all his exertions in what everyone now knows was a pretty extraordinary 5 days for him. Wanted to come straight back in, and that gives everyone a lift. And he played beautifully. And Daniel too, and I think we've seen signs of it with Daniel. His record in T20 is very good. The challenge we threw to Daniel the last couple of winters is trying to just improve that strike rate gradually. T20 cricket, as you know, is moving fast, especially in the power play, the way people go about it, especially in this division with the hitters they have at the top. And he's really embraced that, and he can do it. And we saw in Potchefstroom in our brief pre-season out there how well he played in a T20 into club game. Absolutely just played like that really as we saw at Lords. And I think he can do it. He's having the confidence to do it, trusting in doing it. He's a fantastic white ball cricketer at the top of the order. So great to have those two back, and great when we don't have those guys around is that it gives that opportunity to others. And Jack played very well. Coxey in his first game at 3 for us showed some really good signs too, and it's what we like doing here, and it's nice to give those guys a bit of a chance.
Surrey's today's opposition, all know what it's like to beat Surrey and play against Surrey. It seems to mean that little bit more, and they've yet to win a game all season. So I guess the message is kind of foot on the throat, keep them down, because you played great 4-day cricket against them last week. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I think when you always come up against Surrey, it's a slightly different prospect being a Kent player. It is a rivalry. It is the rivalry for me. Always was growing up as a player. And they'll be, they're a dangerous side, and I know the results haven't gone their way this year. They've obviously had some real trouble with injury, and they lose their England players, on a grand scale. So that's been a struggle for that team, but they're a good side and they've got good players, and Topley comes back and Amler's in the squad, so they've got quality, and you can't take any side lightly in this division. We know that very well. So we've got to be on it. We've got to show the same energy that we've shown the last 2 games, the same skill levels and execution, and I think if we concentrate on that, we'll be in a good place. But it's always I think we don't need to give the lads any more motivation when we come up against Surrey.
South Group looking very tight. They've had a couple of ties. Yourselves are tied with Middlesex. Surrey and Essex have had a tie. There's been some washouts as well. So no one above. Sussex have got, a point lead at the moment, but it's so tight. So I guess if you can string a couple of wins together, you put yourself in a good position.
Yeah, I think it's like this division is immensely competitive. More so than ever, I think, in a smaller group, everyone's extremely strong, whether they're at full strength or not, and you get on a little bit of a roll, it gets you going and it gets you ahead of the pack. A couple of losses, you find yourself back in the race. So we've got to make sure we get some wins on the board, and just try and keep our head above water. But yeah, it's one of those divisions. It always has been. Last year we found the same. We were flying, and then Essex came through from nowhere, went on, won the competition, and any side in this division, I think, can go and win. So you've got to be good all the time.
Good luck today.
Thanks, mate.
So Kent head coach Matt Walker rightly pleased with the way his team had played so far in this competition. The other thing that struck me, Steve, just at the end there, you were talking about playing against Surrey. Respectful of Surrey. I played most of my career with Matt Walker. He always seemed to turn it on against Surrey, and local rivalries, and this fixture in particular means a lot to these Kent players.
Yeah, this is the one you really want the crowd in for, isn't it? This one and Essex probably, because it would be absolutely jam-packed in here. Kent supporters really feel it, not just the players, Kent supporters really feel it when it's Surrey. It's like the Tottenham Arsenal, it's the Liverpool Everton, isn't it, of this particular club in this particular sport. Surrey, as we were saying earlier when we ran through the team, plenty of players missing, we know that, injuries, England call-ups. But I'm still struck, by just how much experience there is running through that team. Back to Matt Walker, we mentioned this on Thursday when we were here, just how an impressive character he is, and his reputation as a coach is growing really rather rapidly.
Yeah, he did some fine work. He was in the bubble, wasn't he, at the Ageas Bowl and Old Trafford for that West Indies Test series. Threw a lot of balls with the dog stick, but it's just the way he works with people. He's a people person. Everyone loves him, and he will throw balls all day. He'll know when to give a sterner word, when to put an arm around the shoulder, and that is essentially top-level coaching. Isn't necessarily about changing someone's technique. It's just to get them in the right frame of mind to go and play, and get them relaxed enough so that they can go and express themselves. And Walks is right up there. I always thought that would be the case with him, but you're always nervous when it's one of your mates and he's starting off in the coaching game. Is he going to be able to make that transition from player to coach? And it's been very smooth for him, and that's essentially because he's a good bloke who knows the game inside and out.
Just going to say, you mentioned there that everybody likes him. Seemingly everybody likes him. They have respect for him. Do you ever have coaches who are more screamy and shouty, perhaps not so interested in being well liked?
Well, I played all my career at Kent, Steve. We were very lucky to have had some really good coaches, but different styles. I mean, we had someone like a John Wright who was terrific when he first came in. He just told everybody how good they were. He said that if I'd been in New Zealand, I probably would have played 70 Test matches. He put you on cloud. That was absolute nonsense, of course, but he was very good at making you feel like you were the best player in the world, and that was the thing that he did when he first arrived. And we came second in 3 competitions, and then in the second year he was here, it was almost like, well, maybe I need to go a bit harder on these guys. And that didn't really sit easily because he'd been this really relaxed person telling everyone how good they were. Then he changed tack in the year, probably trying to find that extra 5%, and it didn't quite work, and he went kind of hard taskmaster on us. And then John Inverarity came in 2001 and just kind of unshackled us, let us play, and we started to score some runs. So it's an interesting kind of dynamic, the coach-player relationship, and where the coach sits in the evolution of a team. We had good success under John Inverarity for the year he was here. Probably wouldn't have happened without the John Wright years beforehand. Before that, we had the likes of Darryl Foster, and there was Ian Brayshaw and one or two others. So I've been very lucky with the coaches we've had at Kent. We've had some good fellas.
Is it hard, therefore, for a coach to change if you're kind of a bit of a matey arm round your great kind of coach to sometime later on giving you a good old rollicking for whatever reason? Is it hard to take them, not seriously, but is it hard to digest that?
Well, I think if you're a coach or captain and you have to be true to yourself, I think that's the first thing to say. There's no point trying to be something you're not. That said, you need to be able to move along the spectrum of what's needed. So if you've got kind of taskmaster at kind of one end that's really cracking the whip, and you've got laissez-faire liberal at the other, it's important that you can slide along that scale depending on what the team needs, depending on what the individual needs. That's what someone like a Mike Brearley was so good at as captain. He knew when to give a rocket, he knew when to tease a performance out of someone, and he also knew when to put an arm round the shoulder. It was a degree in people, I think, is what Rodney Hogg said of Mike Brearley, and I think the same thing applies to coaching. If you need to know when to kick the team up the proverbial backside, you also need to know when they've had a bad day. Maybe it's not naughty boy nets the next day, it's time to just maybe have a day off, lads, go and think about it, take a bit of time. So those little kind of the nuances of leadership are really important, and I think Walksy gets that balance bang on.
I remember something Michael Vaughan said probably 10 years ago now, reliving, as we have done a million times, the 2005 Ashes, and he was asked about the art of captaincy. He was the captain of a successful team for the most part, and he always said, look, you do pretty much what they're not expecting. So we've had a good day, and maybe I'll give them a little bit of a tough time afterwards. We've had a bad day, and I'll do the opposite. Anything in that when you were captain?
Yeah, definitely. I think when a team's been beaten or had a bad day, the last thing you need to do is kind of lambast them. They know that. They're professional sportsmen. They know when they've had a tough day at the office. And if you just kind of jump on the bandwagon and nail them for it, you're probably not helping. So that's the time. Maybe just to ease off. And when you've had a good day, and I actually remember a very good day we had against Surrey in 2003. We had a certain time with Lithuanian bowling us to victory. And we just took our foot off the pedal in the first innings. The last wicket put on about 30 or 40. And Andrew Simons and I walked off the pitch, and he said, do you want them or shall I have them? Like that. And I went, Simo, over to you, and we were winning the game, and he tore strips off the blokes, and we just got a bit lazy. We got a bit, we're winning this easily, and we'd lost a game we should never have lost 12 months earlier to them. And he reminded everybody of that, and he hammered them. So sometimes, as a captain, it's not always you doing the talking or the bad cop. Sometimes one of your senior players can do it. But generally, when it's when you've had a good day, that's the time to remind them to keep their foot on the throat.
Well, there is the glorious sight of the clock on the Les Ames stand just along the end of the scoreboard there, which will not be in operation today. Good news is the electronic scoreboard is fired up and ready for action. That Les Ames stand is being used as the away team dressing room. Surrey can have no complaints about the size of their balcony, that is for sure. It's absolutely enormous up there. So we are right about 9 minutes away from match time now. It's Kent Spitfires against Surrey, third match in the Vitality Blast of 2020. Both teams looking for win number 1. We'll be back in just a moment after a few words from some of our partners.
So a poignant moment as the players take the knee for the Black Lives Matter movement. And Kent, of course, being led today by Daniel Bell-Drummond. And Kent fielders make their way out into the middle. Bell-Drummond winning the toss, opting to bowl first. Kent's preferred method. He's got Heino Kuhn just to his right there, coming back after the birth of his first child. Good to see him back. Zach Crawley has been in fine fettle. Kent has played some good cricket in this competition, winning against Hampshire when the rain came to deny them what would have been a pretty straightforward victory. And then that tension at Lords, the tied match, high scoring game, 209. They'll be hoping, Steve, to restrict Surrey to far fewer than that today.
They will indeed. Umpires have reached the middle. Nigel Long back with us today. He was here on Thursday. He looked like, didn't he, several times on Thursday, he'd eaten something that hadn't really agreed with him with all that rain around. Hopefully he's going to have a pain-free expression today. Martin Ewell is up the other end. Graham Cowdrey is the CLO or match referee if you prefer. Just to remind you, if you've just joined us, Kent Spitfires have won the toss for the third match in a row. Will be bowling first, and it looks as though Alex Blake is going to bowl the first over of this game from the pavilion end. Will Jacks and Hashim Amla to open up for Surrey. It's going to be Jacks on strike. Jordan Cox keeping wicket for Kent today. He'll be standing up, as you'd expect, to Alex Blake, who's just making a few adjustments to the fields. Be interesting to see, won't it, how Hashim Amla goes. Been here for a few weeks, done his quarantine, and now he's here at the Spitfire ground, and he won't be taking strike. First up, there'll be Will Jacks as Alex Blake prepares to get us underway. A tactic we've seen a little bit off from Kent in recent times, bowling the first over to Jacks, who pushes into the offside. There's no run there, dot ball to start. As we mentioned earlier, changes, well, not necessarily changes, but players that would definitely walk into both these teams, not available today. Straight away, Jacks is sweeping here. Quite a big top edge on that one, went up a long way. Not quite going to get 4 for it. They're thinking they're coming back for the third, but 2 it is. The sweep's out early, and it's off the top of the top edge.
Yeah, lob wedge, wasn't it, from Will Jacks? And the 37-year-old Hashim Amla said, 2 will do, I won't hair back for 3. He's not moving quite so sprightly these days, Hash.
37. I mean that kindly, if there is a kind way of saying it. This one is belted down to long on. Good to see Heino Kuhn back for Kent. He lobs that one in, and the single is accrued, so Will Jacks moves on to 3, and Amla will face his first ball here.
Yeah, and he hasn't played competitive cricket since the 4th of January when he was Tigers versus the Challengers, so he made 8 on that occasion. And yeah, I'm just looking at his last run of scores, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 scores, yet to get above 23 his last 10 scores.
That's cursed it. As Blake bowls to Hashim Amla, who's off the mark straight away with 4 runs just behind square on the offside. So there we are. Very good commentator's curse, Dave Fulton.
Well, not the commentator's curse as yet, Steve. He's, by my calculations, still not past 23 just at the moment. But yeah, that was a pretty impressive start, and one way of shutting me up, I guess.
7 without loss it is. Hashim Amla 1 ball faced. He's on 4 and preparing to face Alex Blake. And this one's more the same, really. It squirts out behind square. This one won't make it to the boundary, but Amla will come back for 2. I see what you mean. It's rather agreed, isn't it? We're going to have 2 there. We're not pushing for 3. We're going to have 2 there. That'll do me. Gromvold out there, just flexing the arm a bit as Blake bowls to Amla, who flicks it into the leg side for a single. So 10 runs from the first over. Amla on 7. Will Jacks has 3.
Yeah, vastly experienced Hashim Amla, just looking at his numbers, 124 test matches, 181 one-day internationals, 44 T20 internationals. What a player, what a servant he's been to South Africa and numerous teams around the world. He's played at Essex, played of course here at Surrey, Played at Derbyshire. And, lots of T20 franchises too. To be a key man in this Surrey lineup. They've yet to win a game all season. Bob Willis Trophy's not gone well for them. Like a lot of counties, they will be looking at next year really. But they want to give a good account of themselves in the T20 Blast.
Going to have a bit of Fred Clarson to open up from the Nackington Road end. Left arm over the wickets. It's Hashim Amla who will be on strike here. 10 runs plundered from that first over from Alex Blake. Dare say we may see first 4 or 5 overs, 4 or 5 different bowlers used. Here is Fred Clarson then running in from the Nackington Road end. As Amla is struck on the pad. A fairly decent appeal, which doesn't last too long. Probably gave you a clue there that there wasn't a huge amount of confidence in it.
Well, bit of swing from Clarson. Moving into Hashim Amla. Could have struck him round about leg stump, but the slope, which is going to take it further down the leg side. It's a pretty straightforward decision from umpire Mark Newell. But encouraging that Clarson's got the ball swinging.
So he turns at an empty Nackington Road end. A bank of green seats all vacant and bowls to Hashim Amla. This will be called a wide, I'm sure it is. Started that one leg side. Probably just went a fraction further. Not a difficult call for umpire Mark Newell. He was here the other day, wasn't he, with Nigel Long. Had all sorts of weather worries on Thursday. It's a little bit overcast, but it's positively tropical compared to how it was here on Thursday, although the rain was pretty tropical then. So Clarson bowls to Amla, who flicks that one down to third man. Wasn't a million miles away from Zach Crawley there. He gets a run for it, moves on to 8 and 12 without loss.
Well, if any man was going to reel it in, it was Zach Crawley. His Inspector Gadget arms and a big dive away to his right. Would have been one hell of a take. Amla escaped, but that is the left armer's method. Swing it in, and then just push the odd one across, back up the slope. It's a good bit of bowling.
So Will Jacks back on strike. Will Jacks has 3 runs and 3 balls. And for the first time, he'll be facing Fred Clarson with that slightly lolloping start to his run-up. And Will Jacks pushes that one down to mid-off. And there will be no run there.
Yeah, good to see Heino Kuhn back today doing that little bit of fielding there. Such a live wire in the field, isn't he? He's diminutive, so quick across the ground. He's got a bullet arm for a small man, and has a fair pedigree in white ball cricket. He scored his first red ball 100, first game of the season at Chelmsford. But he's done very well for Ken in white ball cricket.
Hasn't lost it either, has he? High knows he's got a bit older in the fields. As this time Jacks is driving, he's driving straight to Alex Blake. And Kent have struck 12 for 1 in the second over. It's Will Jacks who has to depart for 3 straight down the throat of Alex Blake. He's not dropping that.
No, he hit it well, Will Jacks. It just picked Alex Blake out, as you mentioned, and a dangerous customer, Jacks, is that. As we take another little look at the wicket. Yeah, proper cover drive. Just maybe sat back on it a little bit. Know whether to go up and over or drill it along the floor, but somewhere in between. And Kent will be very grateful for that opportunity. It was there to drive. Blake doesn't drop those. And Kent are on the board, 12 for 1.
And there we saw it for the first time today, the new COVID celebration, which is a sort of tapping ankles thing, isn't there? Maybe an elbow in there. Is that all part of the, I hate this phrase, the new normal?
Yeah, protocols, I think, is the other thing. I've heard the word protocols mentioned more than ever before this summer. And bubble, more bubbles than you see at a West Ham home game.
It's Laurie Evans who's come to the crease. What a terrific T20 player he is. I think I'm right in saying he started off at Surrey, didn't he, many years ago, before moving up to Warwickshire?
Yeah, Surrey, Warwickshire, Sussex, back to Surrey. Very talented, very dangerous batter.
Superb white ball player. I've seen him get his teams out of a hole more than once as Fred Clarson bowls to him. This one a little bit shorter. And Laurie Evans pulls out of it. And it goes through to Jordan Cox, who's keeping wicket. Very dangerous player, Laurie Evans, in this format in particular.
Yes, indeed. And he's on loan currently. He won't be able to play against Sussex in this competition, nor in the Bob Willis Trophy. but will make the deal permanent at the end of the season. 2-year contract starting next season.
Final ball for Klassen's first over. And Evans is pushing this one into the offside that Alex Blake has ran like a whippet to prevent any run. 2 overs gone. Really good over that from Fred Klassen. Just a single and a wide, but more importantly the wicket. And that wicket of Will Jacks, he's gone. And Surrey a 12th one after 2.
These two batsmen like to just find their feet a bit. They're not necessarily Jason Roy style or Will Jack style who go after it right from the outset. Evans sometimes can just chew a few balls up, just getting himself in. Amla similar in that regard. So an opportunity for Kent to get a little bit of a squeeze on early. Then Bill Drummond will be delighted to have won his 3rd toss in a row, to be bowling again. It is Kent's preferred method. And when you do win the toss and bowl first, you want early wickets.
And no surprise to see that we've had the 1 over from Alex Blake. And we have a change at the pavilion. Then at the pavilion end, Matt Milnes prepares to bowl his first over. Impressive here on Thursday against Hampshire. He's bowling to Hashim Amla. Good, solid defensive that. Do you know, I think I'm weird. I love seeing that in T20. You were good at it in the very early, probably the first season. You were very good at it.
Yeah, the forward defensive and the backward defensives really were my thing, Steve. It was the run scoring at an electric pace that was often beyond me. But yeah, I think if you're Hashim Amla and you know you've got the quality to catch the run rate up, then if you do get a good one, there's nothing wrong with just blocking it down the pitch.
Here's Milnes again, bowling to Amla, who's pushing this one into the leg side for a comfortable enough single, which moves the score along to 13 for 1 in the 3rd over. 6 overs of power play, remember, and the fielding restrictions can be relaxed. We'll bring Laurie Evans on to strike, who's just faced a couple of balls so far.
A bit of fielding from Fred Klassen. Great one-handed pickup from wicketkeeper Jordan Cox. What a season he's had with that double 100 in the championship and won the Bobblers Trophy rather, and now he's keeping wicket. Ollie Robinson has made way for the arrival of Heino Kuhn in this team. Cox, there he is, hands on knees behind the sticks.
Milnes bowls to Laurie Evans, who tucks it away off his legs to mid-wicket. Imran Kayam into the action there, and it will be a single. Exciting though, isn't it? Ollie Robinson, plenty of people excited about that. I'm one of them. Jordan Cox, plenty of people excited about here. I'm one of those. Shame there isn't room for everyone.
Yeah, but when you think you're Jordan Cox at the start of the season, am I going to play? Sean Dixon might be around. I'm 3rd in line as a keeper.
Milnes bowling to Amla. Picks that Imran Kayam again at mid-on, no run.
Suddenly Sean Dixon signs for Durham, and you get an opportunity near at the top of the order in the Bobblers Trophy side. You go and bang out the small matter of 238 not out. And Sam Billings is away for the England one-day setup, and you're preferred to Ollie Robinson with the gloves, so things moving pretty quickly for young Jordan Cox, and making the most of that opportunity.
Saw Sean Dixon in action on TV yesterday. As this one is punched pretty hard through the cover to Jack Leaning for a single. And Hashim Amla will pick up another run. Takes him on to 10. Surrey 15 for 1 with 1 ball remaining in this 3rd over. We'll be halfway through the power play after this. Seemed a little bit strange seeing Sean Dixon in a Durham shirt yesterday on the TV playing for Durham. Was it against Leicestershire? At Headingley. Very weird. Lofted this time by Laurie Evans, and he's going to get 4 for it. Once those practice wickets come into play, the ball usually skips away and it crashes in to the front of the Frank Woolley stand for 4. And just a little indication there of just what Laurie Evans can do.
Yeah, it was in the slot from Matt Milnes, wasn't it? Just wanted to finish off his over, maybe jam him up back of a length, give him maybe the single off the hip. But he went for the full one. Kent still looking to take wickets, nothing wrong with that. But it was a bit floaty, and Evans more than equal to it. Up and over the top, 19 for 1. Kent still be pretty pleased with the start they've made. Jacks, the danger man at the top, has gone. These two are usually a bit more watchful when they start. There's Ben Folkes, Rory Burns, Scott Borthwick, all kind of classic championship batters who are adept at this form of the game, but Jacks is the real bludgeoner at the start.
4th over, 4th different bowler, Tim Gronewell bowling to Hashim Amla, who picks out Jack Leaning, who has to move a little bit to his left. Never a question of a boundary there. It's a single. Tim Gronwald, plenty of experience there. Good signing from Kent.
Yeah, good signing. Played Derbyshire for a number of years. Somerset picked him up. And they've got a lot of bowling talent down there, and he wasn't getting much of a look in, so Kent seized on that, made him an offer, brought him to the Spitfire ground, and has a lot of know-how.
20-1 as Gronwald is in again to Laurie Evans, who manages to get this beyond Zach Crawley and get it away for 4 through square, through cover points. Laurie Evans already looks in pretty good nick here. He's on to 9, and it's 24 for 1. Class shot.
Yeah, classic cover drive, over pitch from Grunewald. A lot of strength in that cover area. Again, have plenty of fielders there, but he picked the gap. There's only ever going to be 4.
24 for 1 it is. This one is, well, is this a catch appeal here? I've definitely heard something. It must have been, oh, he's given him. Well, he's given him. I was expecting that to be thigh pad. I definitely heard something. It was a leg side ball. Laurie Evans will be thinking that should have been 4. It probably might have been close to a wide. But as it is, almost bonus time this. Laurie Evans is on his way. And Surrey are 24 for 2.
Well, we'll get a chance to look at the replay here. His bat was away from his body, and the way Evans kind of turned round, couldn't quite believe it had been given. Verdi, the 12th man, bringing Hashim Emler out a drink. But yeah, that's a bonus wicket. It's a strangle down the leg side. Tim Grunewald will bowl plenty better deliveries than that and not get a wicket. So you be grateful for that little bit of luck. Jordan Cox in the game behind the stumps. And after getting rid of the dangerous Will Jacks, it's the equally dangerous Laurie Evans who has to make way. It's Ben Folkes. Come to the crease, 24 for 2. That man on screen will be delighted.
That really was bonus time, wasn't it? Leg side strangle. The real beauty of, there isn't a beauty of having no one here, but if there is a bonus in it, it's that we can hear quite clearly most of the time what's happening in the middle. I definitely heard a flick there. Martin Newell took rather a long time to raise the finger, and I'm expecting Laurie Evans to stay there. But that is bonus time. He looked in good nick already, didn't he?
Yeah, he looked dangerous. And it might just settle Tim Grunewald down as well. Hasn't had a lot of cricket, just the one game in the Bob Willis Trophy against Sussex. Took a 1 for 66, a 1 for 53. It's his only outing to date in Kent colours. So not a huge amount of work. I'm not sure what club cricket he's had. But I'm sure he's done plenty of work in the nets. It's not quite the same as being match ready. So he has a wicket. Fortuitous one, he won't mind.
Surrey may be missing players, but we've got rid of the dangerous Will Jackson, the dangerous Laurie Evans, and it's the dangerous Ben Folkes who faces Tim Gronewald. Gets half a hand on that, on his follow through, prevents any run, and 24 for 2 it remains. There's plenty of big names still striding out to the middle here, you know. Yeah,
Folkes has been a decent touch as well, hasn't he? Got runs in the Bob Willis Trophy game against Kent last week, made runs in the tie against Essex, top score for Surrey. But when he was on strike, Surrey needed 1 off 2 deliveries. And they picked someone out on the boundary. And there was a run out off the last ball and game tied.
It's all the rage, you know, the tie. It's all the rage. As Folkes is, I think, probably looking to guide this somewhere behind square on the offside. He's actually going to get 4 for it. Certainly he wasn't aiming to get it that fine, but Imran Khayyam got the dive out of sorts. But it goes underneath him and through for 4. So Folkes is off the mark. He has 4, 28 for 2. But Kent, I'm sure, will be delighted with his start with 1 ball remaining of this 4th over. Hashim Emler hasn't seen a huge amount of the strike these last couple of overs. Oh, and he's gone this time. Through the gate, not sure if there was an inside edge there or not, but Folkes has gone as well. And this is now turning into a terrific start for the Kent Spitfires. Jacks has gone, Evans has gone, and Ben Folkes now has to make his way. Bowled by Tim Gronewald for 4.
Yeah, just played round that one. It did run just back in on the angle and with the slope, clipping the top of middle and leg. Ben Folkes looking for the on-drive. So he's been in decent touch, 118 and 57 against Kent last week in that Bob Willis Trophy match. 44 in the tie against Essex, where he top scored for Surrey. So that one just too good for him. Probably wasn't quite there to drive and played round it. Of course, the end of Ben Folkes. keep saying these Surrey big names keep coming out, but if they keep walking out and keep walking back, then Kent fans won't mind. Rory Burns, England's test opener, the new man to the crease.
Yeah, Rory Burns. I wonder where you stand on Rory Burns and his type as a T20 player. I'll never forget the Alistair Cook innings I saw for Essex against the Spitfires, must be 10 years or so ago now, and everyone was saying, oh, Alistair Cook, you know, he's a test player, one of the best T20 innings I've ever seen. And it was all proper shots. It was just timing, it was making the right call and the right ball to hit.
Yeah, I saw Alistair Cook get a T20 100 at the Oval for Essex against Surrey. He had those kind of shots, certainly at county level in his locker.
Matt Milnes is in for another over, and he's bowling to Hashim Amla, who hasn't seen much of the ball just lately. He's going to get a single here. And Hashim Amla moves on to 12 and 29 for 3. Surrey in the 5th over here.
Yeah, useful man to have coming to the crease, actually, Rory Burns, because it's a rebuilding job. It's not going to be crash bang wallop, you wouldn't have thought. So these two men at the crease, vastly experienced, and none more so, of course, than Hashim Amla. But he needs a foil. He needs someone to stay with him. And Burns has that test pedigree. He might just have 1 or 2 overs of circumspection, just look to rebuild, because what you don't want from a Surrey's perspective, 29 for 3 to be 35 for 5. Kent will see it very differently.
They will indeed. As you say, 2 ideal men for a rebuilding job. Hashim Amla, Rory Burns. A bit of occupation of the crease. The name of the day for Surrey at the moment, I should think, as Milnes runs away from the pavilion end. The bowls to Rory Burns, who's wrapped on the pad. Big appeal. Nigel Long's not having it. But an uncomfortable start for Rory Burns. Big appeal.
Yeah, hit him on the back leg. We get a second look at this, which of course Nigel Long doesn't get. I'm seeing it from, so I don't know, we're not seeing it from front of him. It might just have pitched outside leg stump. Didn't really nip back in. I think that's a very fine decision by Nigel Long. If your right arm over to a left-handed batsman, you want it just to come back down the hill a fraction. And looked like it might have gone on to hit off stump. Just a pitched outside leg.
Close though, very close. Here's Milnes again to Rory Burns, who's punching down to mid-on to Imran Khayyam, who's been in the action a fair bit already in the field. We'll be expecting to see him with the ball in hand once the power play has concluded, which will be in an over and a half's time. 29 for 3. No run off that delivery. Hashim Amla has 12. Will Jack's already gone. Laurie Evans already gone. Ben Folkes already gone. Some dangerous players back in the hutch. As Rory Burns pulls this one round behind square. They do come back quickly this time for 2. So Burns is off the mark. It is 2 that he has. Surrey 31 for 3. When I say Surrey players back in the hutch, that's probably the biggest hutch I've ever seen. The Les Ames stand.
Yeah, I'm not sure how many hospitality boxes are open for them. They got, it looks like they've got all of them. So maybe 2 or 3 to a box. It's kind of keep people separate, even if you're in the same team.
As I said, they can have no complaints, can they, the opposing teams, about the size of their balcony. As Burns goes for a very quick single here down the middle. Of my word, that would have been close. As Heino Kuhn with the pickup misses the stumps with the underarm throw. Judging by everyone's reaction, that would have been mighty close, but the single is completed.
Yeah, Heino Kuhn, not the man you want to take on. Close to the ground, lightning quick. Little underarm flick. If this had been a direct hit, Rory Burns might have been struggling. There was a little bit of hesitation. He just had to come in on the angle, didn't he? Couldn't run straight at it.
Good dive, though. Impressed by the dive. As Matt Milnes bowls to Hashim Amla, who's looking for a quick one down to third man. It's never there. Tim Gronwell picks up, and it's a dot ball to finish the 5th over. And Kent Spitfires will be delighted with the start they have made, with 1 over of the power play remaining. Rory Burns has 3, Hashim Amla has 12. He's seen 3 partners come and go already, and Surrey 32 for 3.
How Daniel Bell-Drummond marshals his bowlers here, because as we've seen with the Alex Blake bowling the first over, quite a lot of 2020 cricket is quite formulaic. You know, someone bowls the first, then we'll do this, then we'll do that. But when you've got a team on the rack like this, an opportunity to really go for the jugular. And perhaps preordained plans go out the window a little bit. Captains thinking on their feet.
I think we may not see Imran Khayyam straight away after the power play is done.
Well, I think he'll need to bowl at some stage, but yeah, if you think there's a bit in it for your seamers, why wouldn't you carry on with them? He's going to carry on with Tim Grunewald right now. A couple of wickets in his first over. What a start. Full shot from Burns, who looks to force out onto the offside. Bit of a thick edge.
Yeah, no timing in that, was there? Looking to go leg side there and ends up squirting it into the offside. Brought the groan, didn't it? Brought the fielder's groan, which is always an encouraging sign.
And Rory Burns not been in the best of form either. Started the Test series in decent form against the West Indies, but rather fell away against Pakistan. As Grunewald is into him now. Short ball pulled away, and a bit of work to do on the boundary. Good bit of work too. It's a big Zach out there.
It is that sack out there. I'm sure I'm right in what I said the other day when we were here. I'm sure I was lucky enough to interview him before play. He's grown a couple of inches. Always a tall lad, seems to be even taller. Amazing what a great time can do for you, a bit of stature can add to you, isn't it?
Yeah, he really needed every inch of his 6'5". As Grunewald bowls again, and it just dabs away on the offside for a single.
Delighted to report weather conditions miles better, even though it's overcast at the Spitfire ground today. Miles better than Thursday when we were here. We knew the rain was coming. We did have radar wars, didn't we? Your radar against mine. You paid for yours, I haven't. Yours was wrong, so was mine.
Yeah, it wasn't any better, was it? And, got a lot of suggestions coming in on social media, and do keep those suggestions coming in. Keep your observations. Let us know what you think about the stream, about the Kent performances. We do really appreciate you watching us, listening to us, and all your interaction as well. But a lot of people saying, if you knew the rain's coming in, why not start the game a little bit earlier? So Grunewald is in again to Burns around the wicket. Short ball, and he's pulling. And another great bit of work by Hainu Kuhn. Feature of Kent's 2020 campaign so far has been the razor-sharp fielding.
If you're going to wear blue boots, you've got to be good, haven't you? And Hainu Kuhn is one of the best, and remains so. Obviously no spring chicken anymore, Hainu Kuhn, but still red hot in the field. I could have easily beaten him and run away for 4.
Full stroke from Amla, looking to force back down the pitch, thick inside edge. Jack leaning. Looks like he's got one of those arms that means he's going to be permanently on the longest boundary. Just very smooth, isn't he? Like a Rolls Royce in the field. Other expensive brands of vehicle are available, of course, but yeah, just purring around the deep square boundary. One bounce, and in it comes.
Seen a couple of those, haven't we? Those full shots, both right and left hand already. Chokes off the run this time.
Yeah, I think he just wanted Mark Newell up a bit. Sometimes bowlers, particularly when they're around the wicket and they come from behind the umpire, they like the umpire to stand in a certain place. And I'm not saying Mark Newell went walkabout, but he wasn't quite where Tim Grunewald wanted him as he starts again from the Nackington Road end. Slow ball. Did Rory Burns like a kipper? The only thing that saved the England Test opener was the bounce straight over the top of off stump. Was looking for something agricultural away on the leg side. Just thrashed at fresh air.
Yeah, the scoreboard says that's over, but no ball is being signalled here, so that won't quite be the end of the power play. I was just going to say what a terrific over it's been, just the 4 singles, and Grunewald 2 for 13, but we now have a free hit. So he's done plenty of hard work, he's got to do a bit more.
Yeah, maybe Mark Newell not too happy about being told where to stand, but yeah, well, this won't please Daniel Bell-Drummond, because a really good over. This could just get the batting side momentum going. Yorker, good delivery. Burns digs out, and he's just going to get a single as Kuhn once again does the fielding.
Smart, very smart from Grunewald, and that will do it for the power play. 39 for 3. Surrey after 6 overs. So the Kent Spitfires, most definitely the happier of the 2 sides so far, with 3 very powerful batsmen already back in the Les Ames stand, the away team dressing room. Will Jacks has gone. Laurie Evans has gone with a real leg side strangler bonus. And also we've seen the end of Ben Folkes, who's bowled by Grunewald. So a couple of wickets for Tim Grunewald. 39 for 3. bit similar actually to the Hampshire game here on Thursday, wasn't it? 3 wickets down in the power play, not too many on the board. Kent most definitely the happier of the two teams so far, the Spitfires, but as you mentioned earlier, if it's a rebuilding job, which this is, couldn't be too many better candidates good there than Hashim Amla and Rory Burns.
No, experienced campaigners, but partnership 11 off 13, so whilst it's rebuilding, it's not doing so at any great pace, and Kent won't mind that as Stewart begins his spell. Burns is clipping away into the leg side. I'll be looking for 2, but Blake is lightning fast, and we've already seen from Hashim Amla, if there's any doubt, he will stay put.
Be hard pressed to get any bonus runs against Alex Blake, wouldn't you? A misfield from Blake was a very, very rare item, like hen's teeth. Extremely rare. I do like that shirt. Alex Blake, he's got his, from where we're sitting, he's got his back to us, that Spitfire engine just above his right buttock. Love it.
Oh, and Hamler all round a straight one there. A bit thick inside edge. Would have missed that, he would have been on his way. Grant Stewart full and straight. But, gets a single. And his job, Amla, here will be to bat for the majority of these 20 overs. With the likes of Burns and middle order. Just add the momentum. Straight, Burns is clipping with a straight bat. Once again, it's Blake lightning fast across this outfield, sliding right over the top of the bails. That is high quality work from Alex Blake. It's been a real feature of this Kent T20 campaign. They were excellent against Hampshire, carrying on from where they left off.
Yeah, superb here, weren't they, on Thursday? Your bowlers must feel that, mustn't they, if they're being backed up to such a high level in the field.
Stewart again, this time to Amla, who's pushing into the leg side. Thinking about a second. Burns wanted it. Once again, it's Amla with the outstretched hand as Zach Crawley came flying in.
Harry Podmore just walked across in front of us. White socks and flip-flops. I'm thinking that only Harry Podmore can really get away with that and pull it off.
That's what kids wear these days. My kids are always white socks and flip-flops.
What are your kids?
Yeah, they're 13 and 15.
There we go.
Stewart, Burns, clipping, and he's found the gap. Leaning's going to have some work to do here. He stops it. He's going to get some help from Alex Blake. This time the batsmen do come through for 2. Half a misfield from Jack Leaning, but did pretty well to reel it in.
Well backed up, wasn't he, by Alex Blake? There may have been a time gone by when the fielder who's furthest from the ball wouldn't bother. Of course, they work in pairs, don't they? Sometimes more than pairs. Always amazes me still, those catches they take when they're airborne over the boundary and lob it back and someone else completes the catch. As you say, Kent very good in the field these opening stages of the Blast this year.
Stewart straight once again. Leaning's going to mop up on the boundary. That is that arm. Another throw. Jordan Cox doesn't have to move 1.4 millimetre. Tremendous stuff from Leaning and Blake. They've got the long boundary to deal with. And Zach Crawley on the short boundary. And I just wonder that attention to detail, Steve, it's pretty central, isn't it? But I just think you get your tall men on the boundary, someone like a Zach Crawley. Difference between a catch being taken and not sometimes is just the height of a fielder. So it's not by chance that these guys are operating on the fence.
Be the difference between 4 runs and 1 as well, can't it? When the slide comes out from the tall man. We are going to see first bit of Imran Khayyam with his left arm at the Nackington Road end. Bowling to Rory Burns. Burns has 11 from 13.
Interesting to see Khayyam from the Nackington Road end. So the slope working against his natural delivery, which would want to see the ball go up the slope. And not the end he operated from against Hampshire as he's around the wicket. Burns is reverse sweeping, gets a good piece of it. And it's going to go all the way. That is 6. What a shot that is from Rory Burns. You think of Burns as a test opener, but all these players have got the tricks these days. It's a full toss, and he nailed it.
Well, there we are. Rory Burns, as you say, you think of him as a red ball player. And look what he's able to do. Look at the skills these players have. Now takes it on the full toss. Takes it off his ankles and puts it in the empty seats.
Kind of riposte. has Kyan got. It's going to be a single this time, so decent batting from Burns. Get a 6, get a single. See what Hashim Amla can do, but not the start that Imran Kyan would have wanted.
Your kids, how old did you say they're up? 13 and 11?
No, 15 and 13.
15 and 13,
15 and 13,
sorry.
and you know, the this one's got the chain.
Yeah.
White socks, flip-flops. Sliders, I think they call them.
Are they?
Yeah, they call them flip-flops. Sliders.
Thongs, aren't they, in Australia? Thongs, man.
Amla once again, kind of trademark nudge into the leg side. It's just going to be the single.
What you're saying is a 15-year-old and a 13-year-old, who I would say, yeah, they're kids. And you're saying that Harry Podmore is in the same category.
I think Harry Podmore would probably be the first to admit he's a big kid. Burns once again on the reverse sweep, and once again he's nailed it. Can Leaning get to it? He can, and there's a good bit of football, good bit of footwork. His dad was a professional footballer, wasn't he? He was a York City goalkeeper. There's a bit of goalkeeping on the boundary there from Jack Leaning. Stopped it with his hand and then reeled it in with his foot.
Harry Kane. That looked like it was going to get away from him, didn't it, down the slope? Just got the block out with the boot. Very, very, very good awareness.
Good bit of work off his own bowling. Important that as well, because this over in the context of a low-scoring start, so it was a bit expensive. A rare dot ball. But flips away. Sharp single. So Amla responded quickly. A comfortable one.
A comeback from Imran Khan as well after that 6 to start the over, to start his spell. And Rory Burns got the reverse out. And on the full toss, flicked it into the seats in front of the flats. And as I mentioned the other day, I'd love to know what the premium is on those flats now, because they're the only people from the general public that can watch this game live.
Yeah, it's a good shout, and a lot of them are out there. It's not a bad view, is it, from up there? I think I've been told there's a Fulton Lounge in there.
Is there?
Fulton Lounge and a Walker Lounge. He's probably got a higher floor than me. But yeah, I thought the only thing that was named after myself for Walks were the toilet cubicles in the pavilion. I had the left one, Walks had the right one, but I think there's a lounge. So Stewart begins a new over. He's bowling to Burns, who's on the kind of sweep. He's just going to get a single. Didn't time it, bottom edge.
Give you 3 initials there. T, M and I. Too much information. David Fulton cubicle. Don't really believe in regrets, but if I did, it would be one of my life's regrets that I've never seen it and certainly never used it.
Lovely bit of bowling from Grant Stewart. Change of pace. Hashim Amla all ends up. See, the slower ball's been effective here by Kent bowlers.
Mixing it up nicely, aren't they, actually? Slower balls. Changes in length. Obviously, that's the name of the game for any bowler in Vitality Blast cricket, but Stewart doing it well here.
A couple of paces down the wicket from Amla, driving down the ground. It's just going to be the single as Stewart flung himself to try and get the return catch. He's always going to evade him.
Just want to say as well, these variations are getting the better of some very, very good players here. Hashim Amla and Rory Burns.
Stewart in again. This is wide outside the off stump. Lets it go. Nothing from Nigel Long. Signals that is the last ball of the over coming up. My son is abusing me, listening to the stream. Not impressed. I'm sharing with the world that he's white socks and flip-flops.
I don't think I talked to my dad like that. I'm certain I didn't.
as Stewart is bowling and Burns knocking it down the ground again. Good finish to the over. That's it. Another ball. I'm miscounting. My fault. 60 for 3. 1 ball remaining.
Got to finish it off here as well, hasn't he? Because it's been a really good over so far. Another one. Just the 3 singles, couple of dots.
Amla shuffling across. Change of pace once more. Just nudges it into the offside. So Amla under a run of ball at the minute. A couple of weeks in quarantine. First game competitively since January. Just looking a little bit rusty. And those Kent bowling figures make pretty attractive reading. Look at that from Klassen, 1 for 2. His one over. Sorry, 61 for 3 off 9. And Burns, 19 off 20, 23 off 21 respectively. That Stewart over going for 4.
Yes, and if you haven't played any cricket for quite some time and you've flown a fair distance and you've been in quarantine, you might want a little bit of strike, might need to get some rhythm. He hasn't seen loads of it. He's still there, and we know what a quality player he's been for so many years, Hashim Amla. He's at 19 currently, as you say, just less than a run a ball. Well, Rory Burns so far, considering that some think he's a red ball player, it's very comfy out there to me.
So on the reverse is Amla, and he's got it fine. A run away. I think they might just pull it in. Hot pursuit is Grunewald. He can't get it down the hill. Should know better, shouldn't I, at Canterbury? It can run away. Stewart and Grunewald were in pursuit of that one, but lovely bit of touch from Amla. It rolls away for 4.
Yeah, he looks as though he was about to get the slide out there, didn't he, Tim Grunewald? And then at the very last second, thought better of it. Maybe the knees gave way a bit, I'm not sure. He's just about to go down and then backs out of it. The ball does run away very quickly down there.
Better delivery from Kayam, who's just forced into the leg side for the single. Kent won't mind that, but just an inkling here that Surrey are targeting Kent's left arm spinner. None for 16 now off 8 deliveries.
Believe that. The way the junior Fultons were talking to Fulton Senior. Can't believe it. As I say, I never spoke to my dad like that, but there were no mobile phones in those days, so.
Zero respect, Steve. Zero respect, I thought it'd be in my house. But
maybe minus, I think.
comes round the wicket to Burns, who's on the pull this time, and he's going to pick out the man on the deep mid-wicket fence, who reels it in. Is that Blake? Yeah, it is Blake, isn't it?
It is Blake.
Where's he going now? I'm just watching how far Alex Blake runs between deliveries, just coming in on the 1.
So plenty
he's
of
been
miles
down,
in the game,
down on the fence in front of us. He's on the far hospital side of the ground as Amla turns it to the leg side. Just ticking the strike over Hashim Amla. Boundary early in the over. Decent one for Surrey, 7 off, the first 4 balls.
There goes Blake again, motoring back out to the hospital side of the ground, in front of the Girling solicitors ad board. Big block of empty seats.
Shuffling down the wicket, clips into the leg side, and it is that man Alex Blake, who was, as he always seems to be, busy in the field. Bill Drummond would be keen to get his best fielders in positions where the ball goes most often. That is certainly the case today.
Loving this Blake, won't he? In shot, he'll be loving that.
It's tossed up by Kaya. Amla content to just push for the single. The leaning fields. Decent over. Surrey won't mind it either. 9 runs from. 70 for 3 off 10. This rebuilding job going nicely now. Partnership 42 off 37.
So halfway through the Surrey innings, 70 for 3. Imran Kayam 2 overs, no wicket for 20, but doesn't quite tell the story of that, because both overs, the first ball has been sent to the boundary of 6 and a 4. He's come back well. So not from 20, and not for 20 from 2 overs. Probably belies just how well he's bowled, actually. Grant Stewart, we've seen plenty of variations from Grant Stewart. He's going to start a new over from the pavilion end. He's bowling to Hashim Amla, who's driving, not quite timing it. And he's picking out Zach Crawley, who's run round from long off to ping one into Jordan Cox. Very easily distinguishable Cox with those seemingly outsized wicket-keeping gloves. They look enormous on him. It is, which will bring the left-handed Rory Burns back onto strike. Burns has 25. He's slashing this one out to the man on the cover boundary. It's Klassen out there. May feel he missed out a bit there, Rory Burns. 2 for 3.
Yeah, just looking at Burns' numbers, 43 T20s he's played, just the 150, high score of 50. Doesn't get a lot of opportunity when Surrey are at full strength, doesn't always make their white ball side. He made his debut in 2012 in T20 cricket.
Amler just waits for this one. Seemingly waits a long time. Pings it out to Fred Clarkson again for a single. Just think a good player is a good player, whatever the format.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, but again, you average of 15.68, strike rate of 122. I think because he's been so prolific for Surrey in red ball cricket, it's probably been an opportunity to rest him as well.
Grant Stewart around the wicket to Rory Burns. Just rolled the wrist on that one. Grant Stewart keeping those variations coming, doing a good job with them. Not a single.
Before Burns got into that England team, he was of course Surrey's captain in the 4-day form. They won the championship. He did set his stall out as being a good old-fashioned classic red ball opener.
Grant Stewart's back over the wicket to Hashim Amla. He did a bit of a leg break, that one, which Hashim Amla, with all his experience and all his class, is quite happy to stand there and seemingly wait an age for and flick it away through mid-wicket and pick up another single. So it's 75 for 3, just over the halfway point of this Surrey innings. 3 wickets down during the power play. Be interesting to see when they decide to put their foot on the gas here. Stewart bowls to Rory Burns with a loopy one. Fred Clarkson's been busy in this over. It's on the cover boundary for the left-handed Rory Burns. Slides, stops it, single it is. 6 singles from that over. Another good one from Grant Stewart. No wicket for 17 from 3. Surrey 76 for 3.
Yeah, 6 singles. We say in 2020 cricket, the singles don't really hurt you. It is a rebuilding job from Burns and Amla. And Amla 29 off 27. I'm fascinated to see when he just goes through the gears. If he's a good enough touch to go through the gears. At the moment, you've got to say second or third gear. Surrey will want him to kick on, maybe get 50 or 60. But he needs to start up in the ante a little bit. Burns has been the more fluent of the two. So he's not a rip-roaring strike rate, 28 off 26, just a little bit better than the runner ball. So, yeah, plenty of batting to come, 9 overs remaining. The conversations between the two will be about this change of gear. Can they find a boundary?
Fred Clarkson's back into the attack at the Nackington Road and start his second over. Superb figures so far. 1 over, 1 wicket for 2. He's bowling to Rory Burns, who knocks it down to mid-off for a single, which was always there. The shy came in from Matt Milnes, but comfortable single, comfortably home. Fred Clarkson's wicket, first one of the match. Will Jacks, who drove it straight into the hands of Alex Blake for 3. Other wickets to go. Laurie Evans will be gutted to have got a leg side strangle from 9. Caught by Jordan Cox and the bowling of Tim Gronwald, who also removed Ben Folkes. One to go through the gate. And Folkes was gone. 28 for 3 it was after 4 overs. So a decent rebuild going on here by Hashim Amla and Rory Burns. Amla this time is looking to cut away. Maybe done by a little bit of bounce there. It goes through to Jordan Cox.
Done by a bit of bounce, bit of angle as well, round the wicket to the right-handed Amla, just cramping him for room. Looking to cut, but the ball came down the slope. And Cox taking it kind of leg side of the stumps, wasn't it? So good bit of bowling from Clarkson. It's been impressive.
Glorious sunshine now at the Spitfire ground as Clarkson's in. Oh, and he's going to get 6 here, Hashim Amla. The big dive came out from, I say the big dive, it was the goalkeeper's dive, wasn't he? Trying to keep it out of the top corner, Jack leaning. Gets a fair piece of it, but can't grab it. Palms it over the rope.
Yeah, I wonder what his dad would have made of this. Professional goalkeeper Jack Leaning's father back in the day, and yeah, just tipped it over the crossbar for a corner. But perhaps he would have been hoping to have got hold of that and maybe flicked it back in field. Good attempt.
That was a good attempt. Yeah, the old man would have been happy with that. No run off this ball. That was going top corner, and he just flicked it over the bar. Put it out for a corner. Sadly in cricket, that's a bad result.
It doesn't quite work in cricket, does it? But is the point you made earlier about the 2 fielders that are on that leg side fence kind of converging. Can you catch it and flick it to your mate? We see it time and time again, don't we? This new age T20.
Travelling a bit too fast, that one. This time around, Hashim Amla is pulling sedately to Grant Stewart, who throws back in. A single is accrued. That's 84 for 3. Rory Burns, who's on strike now, 29 from 27 balls. Hashim Amla, 36 from 31. Fred Clarkson's on his way again from the Nackington road end. Left arm over to Rory Burns. Waits for it. Pushes it into the mid-wicket region to Alex Blake, who I'm sure, having fielded that, will be trotting off to a new position. In fact, he will be, because that's the end of the over. So 85 for 3, 12 overs gone. Fred Clarkson 1 for 11 from his 2 overs. Rory Burns 30, Hashim Amla 36. Partnership building nicely. That accelerator is waiting for a foot. When does it go on?
Well, I think it started to go on. I think slow start because of that rebuild. So yeah, expect some Surrey fireworks.
Drummond running away from the Frank Woolley stand to bowl to Rory Burns. He'll pick up another single. Into the offside. Daniel Bell Drummond, who's wearing the armband for Kent. Sam Billings away on international duty. Joe Denley is an interesting one for you, Dave. Joe Denley, make sure I get this right, in the T20 squad for Australia, not the 50 over. There's Bromwell bowls to Amla. He's pushing firmly, driving almost down to Haino Coombe with the blue boots. It's another single. It's 87 for 3.
Yeah, it's a funny one, isn't it? I mean, we saw with Ben Folkes, who was in the bubble for a lot of the early part of this test summer, that you can be with England and not play. Kent fans would love to see Joe Denley playing for Kent.
Big shout this time from Gronwald. Rory Burns gets in a bit of a pickle there. That's a leg by. Question was asked of Nigel Long there. I'd see a replay of that one.
Yeah, our director might give us a replay of that one if we're lucky. But yeah, round the wicket, might have just shuffled across. Nigel Long, one of the best in the business.
Delighted to see Nigel Long standing in glorious sunshine. He's going to put his arms out here, surely. He is for a wide, slower ball. Neil radar was a little bit off from Gronwald.
Yeah, but to go back to Joe Denley, I mean, England will want him playing cricket. Kent will want him playing cricket, and if he's surplus to requirements, as has been the case in the T20 so far against Pakistan, the problem is with these bubbles, you can't just send someone back to play.
Leg side again from Gronwald. This time it's flicked away by Hashim Amla for another single. Seems to be the way of it at the moment. Singles coming. 90 for 3. A couple of balls remaining of the 13th over. This is delightful compared to Thursday here against Hampshire. Apparently yesterday was the coldest August bank holiday on record in the UK. Wider ball from Gronwald. It's slapped away by Rory Burns. And yet again it is a single. We had to widen the over, so we got the extra ball to come. Feel that cold, does it? Coldest August bank holiday in record. I'm not sure that was here, maybe in Scotland. That's global warming for you. As Gronwald is in. He gets the old football skills out again. Not the first time we've seen that, and manages to hit the stumps. However, Rory Burns was well in his ground. Mark Newell gave it a good stooping look. No finger was forthcoming.
It was all happening, wasn't it? Rory Burns was sliding in, and the batsman all smiles. Might not have been the case had he been run out, but Grunewald was quickly onto it. That's 2020 cricket for you. Batsmen scrambling, sliding, bowlers kicking balls on the stumps. .92 for 3. 7 overs remaining. Sorry, I probably want 150, 160.
Imran Khayyam returns to the attack at the Nackington Road end. Left arm around the wicket to Hashim Amla, who's going to get 4 for this. That's a pretty damn fine shot, you know. Through extra cover, wide mid-off, and with very little fuss, that's raced away to the boundary for 4.
Yeah, quality shot from Amla, in to out. Just waited here, then down the wicket, gave himself a bit of room, but look at that bat swing. You know, aiming through extra cover. He could have just knocked that straightforwardly down to mid-off, but he went in to out, got the 4.
So another Kayam over has started with a boundary. Previous 2 have as well, but he's come back well. Just a single this time to Hashim Amla. Moves on to 44.
The batsman will target bowlers early in the over. If you can get that boundary away, takes the pressure off, allows you just to knock the singles around, maybe wait for the bad ball. But you've got to find that boundary at some point, so you try and do it early.
Just that little cock of the right leg from Kayam as he starts his run up, and he's beaten Rory Burns here, who's actually struck on the back leg, I think that was. Looking to deposit that somewhere over the hospital side of the ground. Bowled. The beauty of the spinner in T20 cricket, it's quick. And this time Burns is down again. Gets it behind square for a single to Zach Crawley. Rory Burns on to 33. Run a ball 33. Doing a good job for his team here. 98 for 3. Surrey in a spot of bother when these two came together. Maybe more than a spot. As Hashim Amla pushes one down to long off. Heino Kuhn is down there. Windscreen of the ambulance gleaming away. Of course, that's one thing we're missing, isn't it? The calls for windscreens to be covered. That is a Canterbury tradition. That is what we're missing. As Burns gets down on one knee again. Finds Alex Blake on the mid-wicket boundary. And it's another single. So again, Imran Kayam has gone for a boundary first ball. And again, he's come back well.
100 up for Surrey. 100 for 3 off 14. Yeah. Long for the shout of please cover your windscreen. Just be great to see fans back. It's been great that we've been able to get the cricket on. Great that the counties, the ECB, the PCA, everyone has played ball. It's been really collaborative. As I mentioned the other day, everyone's done their bit to get cricket on. That's been the main thing. But it's not the same game without the fans. And this ground will be packed out for a Kent-Surrey match.
Would be, wouldn't it? Packed out, great atmosphere, lights on. Grant Stewart back into the attack, 3 overs, no wicket for 17. Used the variations really well, Grant Stewart. He's around the wicket to Rory Burns, who hasn't got this cleanly. It's gone aerial, 2 fielders are converging on it. I'm not sure the call came. Not quite sure it would have reached the fielder anyway. They make bat for 2 runs. He was not in control of that at all, Rory Burns.
Well, this was up in the air a long time and probably should have been taken, but it was just a confusion. Fielder there coming in. I think it was Klassen just caught the fielder coming towards him out of the corner of his eye, and he just backed off it. It was at a game that saw Rory Burns and Moses Henriques clash and broken jaws and all sorts. That was very messy. Just avoided that fate then.
Good divot though, great divot. On 9-iron, Shai comes in this time.
Yeah, had a similar feel about it. Rory Burns, the fielder on that occasion at Arundel, he was tearing in from the deep cover fence, and Henriques was going out. It might have been the other way around, but they were just both eyes glued to the ball, going full pace at it. Heads clashed, and but Burns was in hospital for a few days, broken jaw in several places. They were both knocked out. Yeah, it was horrendous. So probably just as well they bailed out then, the Kent fielders.
I remember seeing that slow, loopy one from Grant Stewart. Amla waits for it, picks up a single to Jack leaning. Yeah, I do remember watching some footage of that clash. It was horrible, wasn't it? And then what is it about the human psyche? Is like, do you know what? I think I need to see that again. I'm just going to get my position behind the sofa, and through the cracks of my fingers, I'm going to watch it again. It's Stewart bowling to Rory Burns, a wide one, which he gets a thickish edge to. Terrific stop. Jordan Cox reacted very quickly to prevent any runs there.
Yeah, good bit of work by Jordan Cox. First time he's taken the gloves for Kent this summer. Yeah, but it's funny what you say about it's like watching the car crash, isn't it? The thing I'm most famous for is being struck in the eye. That's on YouTube. People have watched that thousands and thousands of times. Nice to contribute something to the people's entertainment for once.
Yeah, I think I'm in double figures watching that. Rory Burns is going straight down the ground this time to Heino Kuhn. He is at long on. Throws it far end to the wicket keeper. So it's one more. Burns 38, Amler 46.
That game at Arundel, T20 match between Sussex and Surrey, was abandoned, and big crowd in. Happened fairly early in the first innings of the game, so the crowd was very understanding. There was no way the game was going to continue. The two guys knocked out.
Final ball of Grant Stewart's spell this. No wicket for 23 he will end up with, as Hashim Amla waits for it, dabs it down into the offside for another single. So 6 runs from Grant Stewart's final over. 4 overs, no wicket for 23. Fine spell, no wickets for him, but he's bowled terrifically well. Plenty of variations for him there. And we're 15 overs through, so 5 to go. Surrey still with 7 wickets in hand here.
Yeah, just looking at those bowling figures, they're up on your screen. Kayam going at over 9s, Blake at 10s. So Surrey targeting the spinners, but there's been a bit in it for the seamers. Grunewald's been at over 7s. Milnes, Stewart, Klassen, excellent. Anything under 6 in T20 cricket is exceptional. Of course, not all of them are done yet, so Surrey will hope to ruin those figures somewhat. But Grant Stewart, 4 overs for 23. Absolutely right, Steve's done his bit. He's going to be, I think that looks like Matt Milnes, who's going to return at the Nackington Road end. It's Rory Burns and Hashim Amla just regroup. The glove punch. And it's been a fine innings by Hashim Amla. Yeah, very circumspect, wasn't he, to start with? Wickets falling around him, just showing all that experience, where a lot of players might have given it away, getting a bit bogged down. He just knocked the singles. And it was that 6 over mid-wicket, little reverse sweep, and before you know it, he's approaching 50 at a decent lick.
Too clever, too classy, too experienced, too good to get out like that and put Surrey in more bother.
As Milnes is in, and Amla is driving, and he's going to get 4 for it, threading the eye of a needle there. Short third man, backward point, third man up in the circle, and Amla goes to 50. Fine innings, 51 off 40. That is what Hashim Amla can do to you.
Reminds me rather of the innings that Joe Weatherly played here for Hampshire on Thursday, when they were in a similarly perilous position in the power play. Weatherly played a fine hand to get Hampshire up to some sort of target. Surrey at the moment positioned to get themselves a bigger target than Hampshire posted here on Thursday.
Milnes is in again. Amla digging out the Yorker, and Milnes is in quickly, shy at the stumps. Cox blocks it, just goes old school, like a John Terry bit of defending, wasn't it? Just threw himself at it to block the ball. Doesn't bat an eyelid, the youngster.
We're going to see more football skills then from Matt Milnes. Elected in the end to pick up and throw rather than booted onto the stumps.
Hashim Amla's 28th 50, in addition to a couple of hundreds in T20 cricket. Coming off 40 balls, 4 fours, 1 6.
Got a message from the Surrey scorer.
Slower ball Yorker. Burns looking to turn it into the leg side, leading edge. Klassen with the fielding, they scamper through for a single.
Rather more respectful than the message from your children to you. Phil, hello Phil, Phil Makepeace. Good to hear you're on the very biased in capital letters live stream. I was just saying how good Hashim Amla was.
So Matt Milnes is into the aforementioned Hashim Amla, who cuts into the offside. Bit of work to do here for Zach Crawley down on that fence, I think so. Yeah, Zach Crawley throws in, and Hashim Amla this time scampers through for 2. Bias on the Kent stream, representing Kent. Steve Watts sitting in his Kent jumper.
I am.
As we commentate against the arch enemy Surrey, also known as winless in 2020 Surrey.
Yeah, you see, now you said this stuff, not me. I haven't said this. I like going to the Oval. I like going to the Kia Oval.
As Milnes is in again, slow ball, and it is a wide. Just thought twice about it there, Mark Newell. Amla lets it go, and Newell outstretches the arms. So good try from Milnes, but he's going to have to bowl it again.
It's very sad to report that here we are in September, and it's actually the first time this summer that the Kent hoodie has been worn, and I realised about 9:30 this morning it hadn't been put through the wash since last summer.
That's a lovely shot from Amla's driving. It's down the ground, and Newell this time it's not signalling wide, he's signalling 4 as we see Fred Klassen go to fetch the ball back. No crowd to throw it back. Can we have it back, please? And a quality shot from Hashim Amla, mid-off up in the circle, and he just went straight over the top of Matt Mills' outstretched left arm.
Wouldn't be allowed anyway, would it? If there was a crowd in, we're not allowed to touch the ball.
You can kick it back, you can kind of flick it out from
Can
behind
we?
the boards. Mills do a bouncer, swivels on it, and he's going to get just the one. He's not hurrying through his Hashim. Yeah, you have to return the ball, not by touching it, but you kind of bring it out with your feet. Maybe Steve Watts would probably flick it up and then volley it back in over the top of the stumps.
Forget it was a cricket ball and head it. What happens then if the ball starts coming towards us? We're down just in front of the Lime Tree Cafe. It's careering towards us, and it's going to hit us, and we throw the hands up to protect ourselves. We get thrown out on the ground?
I don't know about that, but we'd probably have to sanitise and the ball would have to be wiped clean. But, they're not sure where we've been, you see, whereas they've been in their bubble altogether, so they're allowed to touch the ball.
I know where I've been. I'm not telling anyone else.
So Tim Grunewald starting a new over. He's going to be bowling to Amla. It's full toss. He's just going to push it down the ground for 1. He just seems in no hurry, Amla, does he? It's going to take him on to 60.
Class, isn't it? Pure class when someone seemingly is never hurried. Interesting to see what a good score is from here for Surrey. 3 wickets down. It's been that way for a long time.
Burns at the runnable 39 at the moment. Swings this into the leg side, where Blake fields. Is bowling to Amla. Swats this away. Once again, good bit of bowling, good bit of field placing from Bill Drummond as Klassen throws back in. Just a single.
Yeah, that is the question, isn't it? Probably happy for one of these to bat through to the end and someone else to come in and give it a bit of a belt in these final 3.5 overs. Borthwick, I think, is due in next.
That's a nice shot. And that is a change of gear from Rory Burns, smashing this one through extra cover. Got absolutely all of it. Looked like a slower ball from Grunewald. And that first boundary, Burns has hit in a while as Klassen goes behind the balls for it, but a bit of aggression from Rory.
Yeah, right on cue, there it was, asking if he had the acceleration. In no uncertain terms, he's pasted that away for 4 runs.
This one is swung into the leg side. They'll be looking for 2. Amla is hurrying this time, but Blake, as he's done so often, slides round on the one knee. He's up into a throwing position so quickly. And they're not going to take his arm on. So, again, I think Alex Blake's about 4, maybe 5 runs up in the field. I reckon he's saved.
Yeah, maybe a couple more. Love the fact they can just keep control when sliding on the knee like that.
Another slow ball from Tim Grunewald, forced out to the deep cover region where Jack Leaning has also had a good game in the field. Maybe that half chance that he parried over the bar for 6. But on the ground he's been excellent. That completes another over. Just 3 overs remaining, 129 for 3. What's a good score, Steve?
Well, you'd be looking at 10 and over at least, wouldn't you, from the final 3? So that gets you to around about 160. If you can get it near a 170 from the position Surrey were in the power play when that 3rd wicket went down, I'm sure they'll be absolutely delighted. Kent Spitfires, I'm certain, would be quite happy trying to chase down 160, 170. But from where Surrey were, that's a terrific effort. And as you mentioned several times, if one of these two had got out quickly, Surrey would have been in all sorts of bother. The fact that they're going to post what at the very least may be a competitive score is a testament to these two.
So it's going to be Klassen coming round the wicket to Amla. Tucks him up. He's flicked it into the leg side. And that has been swatted away towards our camera position at deep square leg. And no one moved apart from Jack Leaning, who's going to go behind the boundary boards to throw the ball back. One of the most effortless 6s you could wish to see.
As soon as that left the bat, you knew that was going all the way. Just flicked nonchalantly almost, wasn't it?
And that's the problem with the angle. Klassen coming round the wicket, cramped him up, we saw last time with that angle, but if he gets it to leg side, you just help it on its way. Drop kicked it for 6. Klassen, once he got in response, slower ball. Amler into the offside. Kuhn having a shy, but never any danger for the Surrey batsman. At the start of the over, they'd gone past the 100 partnership. And you see the way Amler, who was behind Burns in terms of a strike rate, I think he was 19 off 21, now 69 off 49, whereas Burns still hovering around that runner ball. Just the class of the South African.
Lack of cricket and the quarantine doesn't seem to be doing too much damage to Hashim Amla.
Yeah, that was my best theory. That very soon went out the window. Klassen back over the wicket to the left-handed Burns, who's shuffling across and slog sweeping, and he's got a decent piece of this as well. Great shot from Rory Burns. If he missed it, I think it was good night for him, but he didn't. And they're treating the left-arm seamer with disdain, really. What a shot this is.
Tim Gromwell's down on the boundary at fine leg. Matt Milnes is out there at deep backward square, bisected them perfectly, raced to the boundary, crashed into the blue Spitfire board in front of the Colin Cowdrey stand.
Yeah, and that's the most impressive thing about that shot. It was the picking of the gap. He went right across, knowing that that was the gap he was looking for, used the pace. Klassen looking to respond. Burns is across once more, and he's aiming in the same kind of area, but it's just going to be a single. As Milnes fields.
It's 50 for Rory Burns, 50 off 44 balls. Been a terrific partnership with Hashim Amla, which has got Surrey up to 141 with 14 balls remaining. So 141 for 3. Still very much on for that 160 plus, maybe a fraction more, maybe around about the 170 mark.
Klassen in to Amla. It's another good-looking stroke over the offside, but just picking out Zach Crawley, just the single. Burns going to his 52nd 50 in T20 cricket, equals his career best of exactly a half century. 44 deliveries, 2 4s, 1 6.
A really good hand it has been. Problem with the old bootlaces here. Rory Burns. Gloves are back on and he'll be ready to face Fred Klassen, who has 1 ball to go to finish off the 18th over. 1 for 24, Fred Klassen.
Bouncer, attempted hook, and Mark Newell looks over at Nigel Long. And nothing called, so dot ball, good finish to the over from Klassen. Finishes with the dot, 13 from it, good over from Surrey. It's a clever bit of bowling that. Fed up with Burns, keep going down on the sweep, thought he'd bowl it over his head. 142 for 3, 2 overs remaining.
So who's going to, sorry Dave, who's going to finish off here? Matt Milnes going to bowl, or we see Fred Klassen?
Yeah, I think it'd be Milnes and Klassen. I can't see Blake or Kayam getting another one, so yeah. Milnes and Klassen. Sorry, be pretty pleased with this rebuilding job. What havoc can Amla wreak in the last couple of overs? It's full from Milnes, and he's just driving into the offside, just going to jog through for a single.
Well bowled, wasn't it? Full of ball. He's not getting underneath that and levering it for 6. So a single it is. Well bowled, Matt Milnes. No wicket for 26. Going to be a harsh game, this. Bowlers are bowled well, and their figures on paper, if anyone looks at paper anymore, but on a phone screen, don't always look that wonderful. But actually, they bowled really well.
Burns, some fancy footwork, shuffles outside leg stump and then outside off stump. Trying to put the bowler off, but Milnes once again finding that Yorker length. Just the single from it, nudged out to Blake.
Kept his mind on the job very nicely there, Matt Milnes, as you say. Rory Burns had a shimmy one way, he had a shimmy the other. Matt Milnes won that little battle. Back of the hand, slower ball this time. Amla forcing into the offside, pushing for 2, leaning
Got a good arm on him, and Amla has to hurry. They complete the 2. It's a good bit of running. Amla's warmed his hamstrings up. He was just jogging singles early.
Can't blame him, can you really? 37 years of age. I'll say it again, class and experience.
Outside. Yeah, it's a good bit of bowling from Milnes. Shimamla right outside the off stump. Shout for LBW. One of the worst I've ever seen. It was about a foot outside off stump. With a slope it was missing by miles. I mean, he shuffled outside off stump. The stumps didn't come with him. If the stumps come with him, then it might have been a better shout.
It doesn't matter these days, does it, for a lot of players? As soon as it hits the pad, there's an appeal going up.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of club cricket this year. My son's playing club cricket. And square leg umpires kind of hopping around shouting for LBW, so square leg fielder rather. As Milnes bowls to Burns, who looks to, well, he has a horrible hack at it in truth. Bottom edge into the ground, back to the bowler. Yeah, when the square fielders appeal for LBW and look aggrieved when it's not given, I think, what's going on?
Yeah, that can happen at any level of cricket, can't it? You're fielding at square leg on the boundary. Well, it looked out from here. Yeah, of course it did.
So good over from Matt Milnes, very much Kent's spearhead in both forms of the game, all 3 forms of the game I should say. Is once again it's the dancing feet from Rory Burns. Nigel Long will signal wide. Burns again outside legs, auditioning for Strictly Come Dancing. England opening batsman. So at that time Matt Milnes was somewhat flummoxed.
They're struggling for contestants, aren't they, in this COVID era? If Rory Burns was to take part in Strictly Come Dancing, he wouldn't be the first Surrey cricketer, but would be a rare contestant I've actually heard of.
Slow ball from Milnes, and Burns has got a good piece of this. Got to run away, is it? Great effort from Alex Blake. But it's in vain. To his left-hand side. Needed to get the dive out and time the kind of flick back. Big grin on his face. It's another hoik to the leg side from Burns, but it's mighty effective.
That's 150 up for Surrey. And it was a really good over, wasn't it, until that point, still in the context of this game. And with the penultimate over, it's still a good over. It's just a shame that 4 was banged away by Rory Burns off the final ball. So Surrey's 150 is up. So we are still looking, aren't we, at the 160 mark here. It's going to be down to Fred Clarkson to try and finish this job off for the Spitfires.
And every run crucial, Steve, as we've seen in the last couple of games played by these 2 sides. Kent tying with Middlesex, 209 apiece, and Surrey and Essex also tying as Classon's round the wicket. Little ramp shot, went very early. Amla tried to flick it over Jordan Cox. That's not classic Amla.
No, it isn't, and as you say, my goodness me, how early was he in position for that shot? Stood there with the bat at an angle in front of him. Fred Clarkson maybe now to pick that one out, probably a good 2 or 3 strides away from completing the delivery.
So valuable dot ball to start the over. This time on the pull is Amla. He's just going to pick out leaning. He's on the back foot. He'll settle for the single. There's the Yorkshireman's big arm in evidence again. Over the bails to Cox. Just the single.
The point you were making earlier about best fielders in key positions, Jack Leaning has been very, very good, hasn't he? There was that very tough chance when he tipped over the bar a few overs back, but that was a very harsh chance. But he's quick, he's got a bullet arm, and he's going to be a very important fixture for Kent in this Vitality Blast.
Another short ball. Slower ball, kind of short ball, and it's just pulled away. Kent won't mind the singles.
They won't. I'm just wondering whether Surrey will be thinking here, look, these 2 have been together for a long time, and there are still 7 wickets in hand. Maybe they think they could have got a few more. But that is testament to the Kent bowlers here. Some good skills on show.
Across to the offside. push for two, are they? Coming back for it, going to have to hurry. Cox is on it, and it must be gone, surely. Yes, Nigel Long with his finger up at square leg. Hashim Amla, we've said he's not the quickest between the wickets. He wanted to get back on strike. It was an excellent return. Jordan Cox didn't have a lot to do. Just taking the ball above the bails, flicking them off, and the fine innings from Hashim Amla comes to an end as Surrey lose their fourth wicket. 154, is that? Might tick around 155 for four.
Yeah, probably ticks around 155 and 75, doesn't it, for Hashim Amla? They completed the first run, but you know what we were saying just a few balls ago about giving LBWs out from square of the wicket. We're just behind square. And we called this one as out, didn't we? The run out. We knew Nigel Long's finger was going up there.
Yeah, Zach Crawley it was with the throw. Just made good ground to his left, and that big gadget long arm came out and one bounce over the top, and that was the thing. It wasn't the hardest of throws because he was off balance as he threw it, but it was so accurate that Jordan Cox didn't have much to do. So important that there's a wicket, and it brings a new man to the crease. Young Gus Atkinson, just 2 balls remaining. What can he do? Klassen is around the wicket to him. Short ball. He swings and misses. This is turning into a very fine over indeed. Just 2 runs from it and the wicket of Amla.
Bowled a terrific first over, Fred Klassen. He's finishing the job off nicely here right at the back end of this innings as well. He's got one for 26, but this over, just a handful of runs off it. Done an excellent job, and Surrey because only going to fall short of this 160 mark.
Klassen is in. Oh, that's big.
Well, they're not.
He's got hold of that. They're going to get. Oh, that was the commentator's curse from Steve
Right.
Watts. They're going to fall short of it, and well, that's what Gus Atkinson can do. You kind of wonder maybe could Surrey have got him in a little bit earlier. But they needed that rebuilding job. This was a length ball from Klassen. He just muscled this over deep mid-wicket on the way to the apartments. One bounce and in someone's garden, leaning no chance. A fine shot that is. Second ball, swing and a miss as a sighter. And that one thumped. And Surrey go past the 160, and at 28 for 3, it looked a long way off that total. So well done to Hashim Amla and Rory Burns. Just a bit of icing on the cake from Atkinson, but Kent will still be pretty happy, Steve.
Oh, I'm sure they will be. I'm sure they'll be confident of chasing down, 162 for victory from 20 overs, so just a smidgen over 8 runs per over. Don't forget to chase down 209 against Middlesex for the tie on Saturday, so they'll be confident here of chasing down 162. An innings of stages, wasn't it, from Surrey? Looked set to maybe get towards 170 at one point much earlier in the innings when Burns and Hashim Amla came together. They were in all sorts of bother. So from where they were, I'm sure Surrey are happy with this, but I don't think Kent will be too scared of chasing 162.
No, Kent not too fast. I think they would have settled for that target of 162. Rory Burns well played, a career best for him in 2020 cricket, that 56. Only the second time he's gone past 50, and Hashim Amla showing all that experience. But when you see someone like a Gus Atkinson just smash his second ball over the mid-wicket fence, you kind of think, thank goodness he was only there for a couple of deliveries. Could Surrey maybe have upped the ante a little bit and got someone like him in a bit earlier? But good news from a Kent perspective. The good news too is that as you see the apartments there, Kent, the Spitfire ground, bathed in sunshine, which is great news after what happened against Hampshire on Thursday. We'll be back in just a bit, but for now we'd like to thank our sponsors and partners, and we'll show you some of their ads.
From your kids' school, the buildings on your way home, the place you live and the places we cherish, Redec and their award-winning team have been refurbishing, redecorating, protecting and conserving buildings, churches, railway stations, colleges, cafes and castles across the county of Kent for over 30 years. Redec, Chartered Building Contractors of Kent.
Well, Surrey making 161 for 4 from their 20 overs. That represents something of a recovery. At one stage, they were 28 for 3 when Ben Folkes fell, but a partnership, well, a really useful partnership of 127 between Hashim Amla and Rory Burns got them back on track. Something we feel is still possibly a little bit below par. If you've missed any of the action, let's bring you the wickets now. And starting with the end of Will Jacks. That one, he just thumped Fred Klassen. He got hold of it, but he just picked out Alex Blake at short extra cover. And then there was the death down the leg side, the strangle. Laurie Evans couldn't quite believe that he'd done it. Perhaps he thought it might have come off his pad. And that was quickly followed by Ben Folkes, who's been in decent touch. Tim Grunewald with 2 wickets in his first over. And then there was that big partnership, the rebuilding job from Surrey, and it was ended in the final over. Good throw from Zach Crawley, 1 bounce. Hashim Amla not quite as sprightly as he once was, and Jordan Cox doing the rest. So Gus Atkinson then hitting a 6. But, yeah, pretty decent rebuilding job from Surrey. But yeah, I think we can have a look at a few highlights actually. Steve, kind of join me, talk through some of the action from that first innings from Surrey. But you'd think with the sun being on this pitch, that 162 well within Kent's compass.
Alex Blake, who opened up yet again, bowled the first over for the Kent Spitfires, and an innings which mirrored very much Hampshire's here on Thursday, with 3 wickets going in the power play. You've already talked about that first one there, with Will Jacks driving straight into the hands of Alex Blake.
Yeah, Laurie Evans looked dangerous, didn't he, when he first came out? A man who's on loan from Sussex, who will rejoin Surrey. But this was a horrible way to get out.
It was, and he's such a dangerous player, isn't he? Took an ace for the finger to go up. Eventually, Martin Ewell did extend a digit, and Laurie Evans was on his way. Don't want to see too much of him from a Spitfires point of view, but he didn't.
Yeah, and Ken have seen plenty of this man as well, Ben Folkes. With the flowing locks, doesn't look like he's got to the hairdresser during lockdown, but this time it wasn't to last long. Grunewald, who hasn't had a lot of work in Kent colours, just the 1 championship match, a couple of wickets in his first over.
So plenty of that today as well, didn't we? Some very confident appeals. That one was mighty close. Nigel Long not giving the decision, not in Kent's favour at least, but a terrific partnership, a much needed partnership as well, between Hashim Amla and Rory Burns. Yes, Rory Burns getting the reverse out, clonking a full toss for 6 in front of the flats.
Yeah, it was a feature, wasn't it, of this part of the innings. Imran Khayyam was kind of targeted. First ball of every over seemed to go for 4 or 6, and it was a real plan from the Surrey batters to kind of get after Kent's young left-arm spinner.
Generally dragged it back though, didn't he, each over, Imran Khayyam? There was that moment when Jack Leaning tipped one over the bar. That would have been a great catch. Tipped it over for 6.
Amla showing what a fine player of spin he is. He can flick it on the leg side and then hits into out through the offside. And this could have been nasty. 2 fielders converging. I've seen this happen before. I mentioned the Burns and Reeks incident at Arundel where they clashed heads and knocked each other out. Broken jaws. Thank goodness that didn't happen. But, Amla going on his merry way. It's the good players, Steve, find the gaps. And that's what Hashim Amla continue to do.
They do, and it doesn't matter what the format is, does it? There's always a place for proper shots, for timing, for a bit of class. And we saw plenty of that from Hashim Amla today. As mentioned a few moments ago, it was very much needed by Surrey when Rory Burns joined him at the crease.
Yeah, and Burns played a good supporting role. Hashim Amla, just when he wanted to find that boundary, he could do. And Burns playing second fiddle, but he too, just towards the end, started to locate the fence. A couple of leg side hoiks to decent effect.
Alex Blake that time around not quite able to catch up with that one.
And this is the run out. Word for Zach Crawley. Everything he touches at the moment turns to gold. Good bit of work from Cox as well. Quick hands. And Amla was on his way for 75. Introducing Gus Atkinson to you.
Yeah, I've seen Gus Atkinson in action for one ball so far in his entire career. Now, if I was Gus Atkinson, I'd be thinking about retiring, I think. One ball, 6, thanks very much. Great career. Terrific strike rate.
Yeah, I think he had a swish and a swat at his first one. I think the first one, was a swing and a miss. The second one disappeared for 6. But perhaps a good thing that Kent didn't see too much of him. They're the men that are going to open the innings for Kent. They've done so to good effect in this competition so far in the first 2 games. Zach Crawley, fresh off that double 100 for England. Daniel Bell Drummond, who's got exactly 100 runs in this competition at an average of 100 so far this season. We will bring you the Kent reply very shortly. They're out there in the sunshine at the moment, but thanks to our sponsors and partners, we'll get some more of their adverts.
From your kids' school, the buildings on your way home, the place you live and the places we cherish, Redec and their award-winning team have been refurbishing, redecorating, protecting and conserving buildings, churches, railway stations, colleges, cafes and castles across the county of Kent for over 30 years. Redec, Chartered Building Contractors of Kent.
.162 the victory target for the Kent Spitfires against Surrey in the Vitality Blast for 2020. Thank you for joining us on this live stream. David Fulton, former Kent captain, alongside myself, Steve Watts, as the first ball from Reece Topley gets through Zach Crawley, goes through to Ben Folkes, with the Barnet poking out from under the cap there. 162. Kent will be confident when they're here.
It's the first ball Zach Crawley's missed in about 10 days, isn't it? Playing a miss. Don't see that too often.
That's a good point. When you miss them, make sure you properly miss them. Reece Topley. Left arm over. This is leg side. I'm sure the arms are coming out. They are. So Kent off and running with a wide. One without loss. On my way down here to the Spitfire ground today, I had a bit of time in hand, so I popped off at the Medway services on the M2. I walked up the steps, and who should greet me? Shan't say what shop he was outside, but it was Reece Topley. I wasn't expecting that, as the song goes. And here he is, bowling to Crawley. They come through for a single here. Middle stump is knocked back. There's a fairly confident appeal for a run out, but it isn't given. It's a leg by. So a couple of extras have got Ken off the board here, 2 without loss.
Well, it's a terrific bit of work from Reece Topley. Might get a replay of this one. But Daniel Bell-Drummond had to go wide round the fast bowler as he himself cut across to the ball. And what a fine bit of work. Topley not really renowned for his fielding or his athleticism. Yes, for his bowling, but take a look at this as it went onto the offside and Topley was off. Bell-Drummond had to go wide, and that could have cost him as the throw came in and hit the stumps.
Good bit of work. Fortunately, no damage done. Another choked appeal as Daniel Bell-Drummond is taken on the pad by Reece Topley. Of course, just a couple of weeks ago, had the England shirt on, Reece Topley, against Ireland.
Yes, he did, and he's showing why he's so highly regarded. These two have been in rare touch, Crawley and Bell-Drummond. And just a wide leg by so far. Swings it, tall man, not express, but has a box of tricks and really varies his pace.
Just over 8 and over the required rate for the Kent Spitfires. Not going to be a run here, as Bell-Drummond just drops it in front of him. It's Mark Stoneman who picks up. England players of recent times, Mark Stoneman.
Just looking down and thinking, who's Mark Stoneman on for? I'm guessing Hashim Amla. I haven't seen Hashim.
Well, this one is going to get 4 here, Daniel Bell-Drummond, and waiting for the signal from the umpire is 4 leg buys. So must have taken a bit of pad. Has beaten Ben Folks behind the timbers there. So it's all extras so far. 4 more of them here.
Yeah, a good bit of bowling from Reece Topley, and perhaps an indication that this new ball doing a bit, much as it did in the Surrey innings. But I'm just curious as to the man that Stoneman is on for. I'm guessing it's Amla. I can't see him anywhere. He is fairly conspicuous with his beard. But making that 75 and possibly pushing back for that second run is the old favourite, the little tight hamstring.
Yeah, the tight hamstring and a bit of quarantine as Daniel Bell-Drummond is cutting, and is cutting for 4 behind square on the offside. First runs off the bat, and it's been a good start for the Spitfires. 10 without loss. Bell-Drummond has those runs off the willow, 4 of them. Zach Crawley yet to get off the mark.
Well, frustration for Surrey and for Gareth Baddy, the captain, because a fine over from Reece Topley, rather ruined by that short wide delivery. The previous 4 leg buys was a cracking delivery that nipped back. It went between the keeper and slip. Not much you can do about that, but just needed to finish his set off. And short and wide, Bell-Drummond cuts for 4. All of a sudden, Kent a 10 without loss. But yeah, I hope Hashim Amla's okay. But the cynic in me would think, well, if you can get a younger fielder on, Amla's done his job with the bat. And it's not a bad swap. Stoneman's a good fielder.
And it's Matt Dunn to start the second over as Crawley's looking to pull away. Somewhere over square leg, gets the top edge, it flies over slips and goes for, let's go for 4 to go all the way.
No, I think it went for 4, but such is the touch that Zach Crawley's been in that it looked like a full stroke, but who knows, he might have even meant this off the back of the bat, aiming over mid-wicket, back of the bat, thanks very much. And when your luck's in and you're playing well, those things tend to happen. When your luck's out, you pick out third man as it flies off the back of the bat.
Crikey, if he meant that, he is some player. As Matt Dunn bowls to Zach Crawley, and this time more familiar Zach Crawley pushing forward. Nice sound off the bat there, no run for it, but fully in control of that one. It's legitimate now, isn't it? The back of the bat. Some players deliberately play shots off the back of the bat.
Yeah, well, I used to play quite a lot of shots off the back of my bat, not on purpose. Sometimes kind of aiming through the leg side. Quite often the back of the bat would come into play and it would run away for 4 through the slips.
14 without loss, Spitfires, as Crawley has to wait for one which he just knocks back pretty straight. That's Will Jacks, I think, picking up there, so that'll be a single. And 15 without loss.
Just one or two signs, Steve, that this isn't the most straightforward of surfaces. 54 strokes, a little bit of lack of pace of the pitch, maybe not quite coming on as the Kent batsman would like.
Yeah, we saw a bit of that, didn't we, in the Surrey innings? And the Kent bowlers used it. If there is a lack of pace, that they used it nicely. Matt Dunn fields off his own bowling. There's no run here. Bill Drummond remains on 4. 15 without loss.
And that's when you have to use your experience. We saw that in the Surrey innings from Amler and Burns. If it's not quite the surface that you'd like, you have to react to it. No point trying to play shots as if you're batting on a road. You just have to adapt. 209 they posted at Lord's the other day on a very good pitch.
Well, Bill Drummond takes a couple of shots here, gives him a couple of strides, gives himself a little bit of room and smashes it down to long off for 4. Just beginning to think, if it is a slightly sluggish pitch, is that 161 beginning to look maybe a little bit better than we first thought?
Well, possibly, but what it might also mean is that Kent will want to get off to a good start, because it didn't look easy at any stage through the Surrey innings, even when Amler and Burns were compiling that 127 run partnership rather. So it's the way Kent like to go, hard at the top.
This time Bill Drummond is almost playing a baseball shot there down to long on. Takes one bounce and he will pick up another single, so he'll move on to 9. He'll take the strike as well, because that's the last ball of the second over, and it's 20 without loss. Kent Spitfires chasing 162.
Yeah, 10 off the first, 10 off the second. Not straightforward batting. The bowlers feel that they're in with a chance, but Zach Crawley 5 off 5. Daniel Bill Drummond 9 off 7. Decent start from the Spitfires. Slightly testing conditions, so intrigued to see what Gareth Batty does. Looks like it will be Reece Topley to continue as Batty goes to short fine leg, which is not where most capped him from.
Yeah, 10 runs were taken off that first over, but only 5 against Reece Topley. Had a few extras in there, so no wicket for 5 from 1.1 overs now. No run off the first ball of this third over. Daniel Bill Drummond taking strike. Had a little wasp trouble this afternoon. There's a half-eaten bacon and free-range egg sandwich down there. There's this wasp which has been here all afternoon. It's lovely to have a crowd.
Well, I don't know why you'd be saying that over the live stream, because wasps who are listening will be all over it now.
Do they listen? Get good Wi-Fi if you're a wasp.
I think possibly. I think they're cleverer. They're possibly cleverer than bees. I don't know. They certainly have that kind of evil, menacing look about them, don't they? And if you're advertising that sandwich, look, there's one already.
Bees are useful. What are wasps?
It's enjoying that brown bread.
As long as he stays down there, doesn't come any closer. Here's Reece Topley again, bowling to Bill Drummond, who manages to get this one away through extra cover and gets it into the Spitfire board in front of the Spitfire bar for 4, moves on to 13, 24 without loss.
Well, I like your description in the last over, Steve. You said Daniel Bill Drummond baseballed it for 4. I think this was exactly the same shot, wasn't it? Kind of horizontal bat shot, but the ball going straight out through wide mid-off. Baseball indeed. What a cracking shot that was.
Seeing more and more of it these days as well, aren't we? The baseball shot, the horizontal bat going somewhere in the V, as Topley bowls to Bill Drummond. Shorter ball, which Bill Drummond just gives a little duck of the head to. Lets it go through to Ben Folkes. Umpire's happy with that. So 2 balls remaining in this third over. Good over so far. Another good one from Reece Topley. No wicket for 9 so far from his 10 deliveries. This wasp can't be right. It's all over a bottle of water now. This wasp is not right. You go over there, please. Topley bowls to Bill Drummond, who's pulling. It's a tiny bit of a hoik. If I'm being very unkind, it doesn't matter, because it's 4 runs through mid-wicket. So Bill Drummond, who's looked in good touch in the Vitality Blast so far, he's off to a rocket here. He's 17 from 12.
Yeah, good horizontal bat shot player, Daniel Bill Drummond. Likes the short ball, likes a bit of pace on the ball. And if the previous one was swatted through the offside, it was dispatched through mid-wicket.
What's he got this time? Oh, he's got a straight one. He's got this straight, and he's got it for 4. couple of bounces into the advertising board, and 4 more for Daniel Bell Drummond. He moves quickly onto 21, and it's a good start for the Spitfires. 32 on the board after 3 overs. Remember the required rate, just a smidgen over 8 at the start of this innings. They're going along a little bit more than 10 currently.
Yeah, terrific start. Rip-roaring start, I'd go so far to say. And it hasn't been easy. That's what's been most impressive about it. There's been a little bit of movement. The pitch looks a little too paced. But still, Daniel Bell Drummond has found an answer. And Reece Topley, 4 off 4 balls he was. And in the last 2 deliveries going for boundaries, as was the case in his first over. So Kent back into the over, catching up the run rate, and then some.
And this is Gus Atkinson. We know what he can do with the bat. What's he going to do here with the ball in his hand? He's going to bowl to Zach Crawley, who's going to pick out the man who's in fairly close there at mid-wicket. That's Daniel Moriarty. Not sure if Daniel Moriarty is one of the Whitgift School products, but there are plenty around Surrey. Been a really good seam, hasn't it, the Whitgift School for Surrey. And, may I say, other assorted alumni, as Atkinson bowls to Crawley. Well, we saw plenty of that the other day. It's on his legs. You bowl that to me, and I'm going to flick this, and it's going to race to the boundary for 4. Crawley onto 9.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Gus Atkinson was doing last week while Zach Crawley was amassing a mere 267 against Pakistan. But what I can tell you, and what a lot of people will know around the country if they watch that test innings, is that you don't bowl on Zach Crawley's legs.
So you've got as a reply, this is Midland leg, and this is absolutely biffed for 6 by Zach Crawley. It was leg side-ish, but it was straighter than the previous ball. But the result is worse for Gus Atkinson. 6 this time.
Well, in fairness to Gus Atkinson, the form Zach Crawley's in, he's a tough man to bowl at. But yeah, he's been kind of full, he's been straight. The last one was leg stump, that was kind of Midland leg and on the angle. And with Crawley intent on wreaking that kind of havoc, really got to be back of a length over the top of off stump, try and give him no width. But in trying to give him no width, you can then get a bit straight. And Mark Newell just stretching his neck there, probably because he just had to turn around and look where that last one went.
Yeah, may have done himself a mischief. A little crick. Oh, they can be painful as Gus Atkinson bowls. This is going to be a wide, is it? It is. Leg side again. His radar's just off a little bit. He went for the slower ball that time. And it went through on a couple of bounces to Ben Folkes. Wide the result.
Yeah, the only other thing I'd throw into the mix here where Gus Atkinson's concerned is not sure if he's played at Canterbury before, and the slope can just force people to fall away a little bit and push the ball down the leg side.
Here he is, bowling to Crawley. This one is outside off stump, so he's adjusted his line there. And the dot ball is the reward.
Yeah, and that's the spot to bowl. You're looking at mixing your pace up, top of off stump, trying to go over the off bail or at the off bail. And if you're a few inches away from that, it's not the end of the world. But you get on Zach Crawley's pads, you're in all sorts of trouble.
Yeah, we've seen it a couple of times already. 43 without loss. Zach Crawley has 15 from 9 balls. I make no apology for keep making this point, but Daniel Bell Drummond looks in great touch as well. He has 21, but it's Crawley on strike, facing Atkinson. Crawley takes a couple of strides. Gets it out to the mid-wicket boundary, so he'll pick up a single. It's Rory Burns out there, somewhere in the region of floodlight number 4.
Looking at Ben Folkes there, as Rory Burns as well. Surrey boys who haven't had much opportunity to get to the hairdresser. The flowing locks like 70s throwbacks. All that's missing is the kind of open shirt and the gold chains.
And of course the Alice bands. They've made a resurgence, haven't they? Not sure I'm happy about it. Single this time around for Daniel Bell Drummond. And he goes to 22 Spitfires. Good start this. 4 overs gone, 45 without loss. Target 162.
Well, so far, making light work of this target of 162, 45 without loss after 4, but Surrey will know that if you can get rid of these two, they've been the major contributors in Kent's T20 campaign so far. Heino Kuhn hasn't batted for a while. Jordan Cox still pretty raw at this level and this format. So a couple of wickets can change it. That's what Surrey will be thinking, but at the moment, it's plain sailing.
Matt Dunn is switching to the Nackington Road end, is bowling to Daniel Bell-Drummond, who's got that down to long on for a single. A little bit clunky the sound there, maybe bottom of the bat. But a single is the result. Daniel Bell-Drummond on to 23.
I think the difference between the two sides, Hashim Amla just gone nurdling the ball for singles. Daniel Bell-Drummond's clubbing it for one.
Bludgeoning was the word I was going to use, but I think clubbing's better. As this one swung away by Zach Crawley. Picks out, that's Gareth Batty there, isn't it? The evergreen Gareth Batty. Now talk about Hashim Amla and experience. My goodness me, how much has Batty got up here?
Yeah, turns 43 on October the 13th. Probably the second oldest man, I think, playing county cricket at the moment, behind our very own Darren Stevens. Brilliant to see Steve-O signing another year's contract to be playing past his 45th birthday.
Drummond, cracking shot that. He's cutting it. He's got it in front of square. He's not going to quite pick up 4. Good bit of fielding out there. The fact, I will only get 2. I thought that was nailed on for the boundary, but 2 it is.
Yeah, good shot by Daniel Bell-Drummond. How many times have we seen that cross bat come into good effect? He's hit the one with the straight bat back over the top of Reece Topley's head. Other than that, it's been the baseball strike and the cut shot that's brought all his runs.
The old school coaches having kittens seen these cross bat shots. It's the way it is nowadays. And he's cutting this time, Bell-Drummond. Almost gets that past the fielder there at cover point. Not quite. Dot ball.
But to go back to Darren Stevens signing that contract extension, there'll be a lot of Kent fans listening to this will be delighted. I had a couple of years ago, I had a kind of hashtag play till he's 50 a campaign. Frank Woolley played to 51. It's got a stand in his name. You know, who knows how long Darren Stevens can keep going for.
And as we found out earlier, you have a cubicle to your name now. Daniel Bell-Drummond's in trouble here. This has gone very high and he has gone. Skies one, and it's taken, well, almost directly behind the bowler in the end. And Daniel Bell-Drummond, who looked in very good nick indeed, is gone. Surrey needed that breakthrough. And it's 49 for 1. And it's Daniel Bell-Drummond who has to go for 25.
Yeah, decent innings that from Daniel Bell-Drummond. Couldn't quite see who the catcher was, but it was neither a cross bat or a straight bat shot. That was a bit in between, wasn't it? But he's got his team off to a flyer again. Bell-Drummond, and his dismissal sees Heino Kuhn come to the crease. Congratulations to Heino and his wife. Recently had their first baby. He's pressed back into action now. It was Will Jacks with the catch. Bell-Drummond going for 25, 49 for 1. Decent start for Kent. We'll find out. Always laugh when these two get together because Kuhn's diminutive and Zach Crawley giraffe-like. So dwarfs him, doesn't he?
Unmistakable orange straps and the pads of Heino Kuhn. So blue shoes, orange straps. Was a bit of orange about the gloves. Not sure about that colour clash. As Matt Dunn is in to finish off what is going to be a productive second over. No, he's not, because it's a wide. Airs down the leg side. Easy decision for Martin Ure to give the extra run, the extra ball to come. And against Spitfires, 50 is up there.
Yeah, 50's up. Just not fifth over, not yet complete. So making it in good time. And this is the Kent way. Go hard up front, get ahead of the rate, take a bit of pressure off that. Slightly less experienced middle order. Heino Kuhn accepted.
So Zach Crawley on 17. Awaits Matthew Dunn, blonde hair flowing behind him. Crawley pushes this to the man at mid-on for a single. So that will do it for the 5th over. 1 remains of the power play. Spitfires going along at 10 and over. Fraction more, it's 51 for 1. Daniel Bell-Drummond the man to go, but as David Fordham was saying, Kent off to another terrific start courtesy of Bell-Drummond and Zach Crawley. Crawley's still there on 18. Heino Kuhn is yet to face Dave. 5 overs gone, 1 remains of the power play.
Alex Blake down to come in at number 4 on the card there. Wonder if that would be the case. It's usually, isn't he, AJ Blake, used as a finisher. Kind of think of him coming in around about 5 or 6. But it's Atkinson again, and it is Crawley on strike, and he's threaded this backward of square, and he's going to get another boundary. Zach Crawley's in terrific touch, He goes on to 22 from 13 deliveries, 55 for 1. Classic Crawley.
All the eulogising we did about Hashim Amla when he was batting, talking about having time, having class. Well, just apply that to Zach Crawley.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've seen then Atkinson trying to adjust. He got too straight in his previous over, got flicked over the leg side, so he overcompensates, goes a bit wide, and he gets taken. And this one's short outside the leg stump. Crawley just swivels on it, and he's going to get 4 more. Garth Atkinson is under pressure here as Crawley's putting his foot down.
As you mentioned in Atkinson's previous over, he'd be a hard man to bowl at, wouldn't he, Zach Crawley, particularly in the form he's in, the way he's seeing the ball. Just get the feeling here that Atkinson doesn't quite know which way to go with Crawley, and doesn't seem to matter what he tries, he's ending up in the boundary.
Well, the problem that you've got in bowling to Zach Crawley, he's a tall man, he's great long levers, so he makes foolish deliveries into half volleys because he can take a stride and drive you. So you pull your length back, but he's so good on the back foot. Most tall men are not as good playing pull shots and cut shots as Zach Crawley. So you pull your length back and he just swats you for 4 through square leg. What can Atkinson do? What's his answer? Down the leg side, he's going to get picked up. And this is going to be 4 more. And this is an exhibition from Zach Crawley. 3 consecutive boundaries. Atkinson head down. And Surrey right up against it here. 63 for 1.
Yeah, one of the more experienced heads in the Surrey team. May just want to get up to Gus Atkinson, just have a little word with him. Hasn't happened as he returns to his mark for this ball. Zach Crawley bowled that to him. You know where that's ending up.
3 fours in a row. This one's short. Oh, change up. Slower ball. And Nigel Long shakes his head. I think Zach Crawley grinning at him. He wanted the wide. It was kind of leg side. But perhaps went over his left shoulder. Slow ball bouncer. Well bowled, young man.
I was expecting the arms to come out from Nigel Long. Zach Crawley was as well, I think. But nothing doing.
No ball to compound the errors. He's gone for 3 fours. And they're just pushed down to Long on for a single. But now Nigel Long is signalling free hit. And this Gus Atkinson over, well, struggling, the young man. Thought he'd come back nicely with that slower ball bouncer. Zach Crawley can't believe he's let Kaino Coon have the free hit when he would have quite liked it for himself.
Yeah, it's a test for Gus Atkinson, isn't it? As you say, struggling a bit here. He's now got a free hit to deliver to Haino Coon. This will test his skills.
So Haino Coon's first ball is a free hit. If only we could get that every time he batted. He's going to flick it away to the leg side. It's Rory Burns doing the fielding. He'll take the single. It's a bit like when you play benefit cricket or testimonial cricket, every now and again you get a mulligan, where the batsman basically gets a free hit to get him away. That's what Haino Coon has effectively just enjoyed. Final ball of the power play. Atkinson's down the leg side and Crawley swings it away. Back of the bat. Gonna have to hurry. He was looking at that short leg side boundary again. It was leg side of middle, sliding down the leg side, and I thought that was going to end up in the seats, as has previously been the case. But Gus Atkinson, expensive. 2 overs for 30. I'd be surprised to see him get a 3rd over anytime soon. Maybe time just to withdraw him from the attack. Gareth Baddy will know that. 68 for 1 off 6, advantage Spitfires.
Very much so. That Wilkins-Kennedy board over there has taken a pounding, hasn't it? Just behind square on the leg side. That one was going that way as well. I think we're going to have to be honest and say that Zach Crawley wasn't trying to find the back of the bat there. As you say, a bit of a struggle for Gus Atkinson. Be interesting to see whether he gets another turn later on. So the power play is done. Spitfires need another 94 runs for victory here. We're going to see a change in the bowling. We're going to see Daniel Moriarty.
Yeah, Daniel Moriarty, left arm spinner. Just he's taken some wickets in the Bob Willis Trophy. I think he played at Radlett against Middlesex. Bowled nicely. He's going to be bowling to Zach Crawley, who's on the reverse sweep. This is the thing with Crawley as well. He doesn't let you settle. He's got the conventional shots. He can be classically orthodox. And then all of a sudden out comes the reverse sweep.
We were talking earlier about Whitgift School I took the trouble last night of looking up the fees for Whitgift School for a year for a day student.
He's in again, Moriarty, and Kuhn pushes into the leg side. He's going to get a single. Go on then, hit us. How much?
I think I'm correct in recalling, I didn't make notes on this one, for a day student for a year, Whitgift School, in excess of £20,000.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. Moriarty's in again, and Crawley's reverse sweeping. He's going to pick out the man at backward point. It's Topley, and Kuhn has to scurry back. Yeah, and they produce a lot of good cricketers. So you could go to the Canterbury Academy. The boys got just down the road. Get a cricket programme at a state school. And you don't have to pay a penny. Oh, it's going to be out. Crawley can't believe it. Moriarty has struck. Just picked out extra cover. He's almost like he was just trying to steer it over the top. It was Laurie Evans with a catch. It was a straightforward one. And Zach Crawley, who's been in this purple patch, it's tremendous form. 32 off 20. It was all looking so easy for the big fella. 267 in the test match. Runs every time he's gone to the crease in T20 cricket. But he is on his way. He's gone for 32. Surrey have struck 70 for 2.
Yeah, soft in the end, wasn't it? Just pulled that down a fraction shorter. Moriarty and Zach Crawley looking to go over extra cover. Can only pick out the man who's in short there, Laurie Evans. So Zach goes for 32. Another good hand, another good start given to the Spitfires with the bat by Zach Crawley and Daniel Drummond, but they're both back in the hutch, which brings Alex Blake to the middle.
And a bit of frustration for Matt Walker, having seen his opening pair get off to such a flying start, for them not to have carried on. 25 for Drummond, 32 for Crawley. He had the game by the scruff of the neck. Just opened the door for Surrey here. Kuhn on 2, Blake yet to face, and Surrey will feel they're back in this. When at one stage the game was being taken away from them very quickly indeed.
Exactly, but it's 92 runs required. The Spitfires have got off to a terrific start. To be quite honest, haven't got to do anything silly at all for quite some time. Just bat, and you think they get there. Plenty of overs in hand.
So the left-handed Blake on strike. Moriarty round the wicket. Blake flicking into the leg side, just content to take the single. He's off and running, and this left-right-hand combination will be useful now for Kent against the left-arm spinner. We know Blake's got the power, he's got the finesse as well. And this is kind of an opportunity for him to bat a little bit earlier in the innings. Not yet at the end of the 7th over. It's a short ball, and Kuhn is cutting. It's going to be the single. Just wonder now whether Kent are going to be happy, much like Surrey did. We lose a couple of wickets, we're ahead of the game, we'll just tick the 1s and 2s. Nothing silly. You don't want is to be 80 for 4 and give Surrey a real sniff.
Precisely, the one thing you don't want here is wickets clattering. There'll be nothing to check the run rate as effective as wickets falling. What was Surrey at this stage? Was it 46?
46 for 3.
46 for 3 at the same stage. So that's how far in front the Kent Spitfires are. 26 runs further on. And they can afford, these two, to do it very much like Kashim Amla and Rory Burns did it for Surrey. Accumulate some runs. Nothing silly. Keep batting. You should pretty much get there. There's Gareth Batty for the first time today.
Yeah, Batty in, the 42 years young. He's bowling to Heino Kuhn. There's no spring chicken himself, just turning it to long on. And they take a single. And this is the way that the county teams try and claw things back in the middle. Double spin, get through the overs quickly, try and join a few dots up. But I think in Blake and Kuhn, left-right hand combination, two men who like to get on with it. In contrasting ways, Blake will be the one you'd expect to hit the 4s and 6s when he gets the deliveries in his area. Kuhn will keep it ticking along. So Batty's in round the wicket, Blake solidly behind it. Even his defensive shots, people have to dive and stop.
Fly off the bat, don't they? The defensive shots. Must be a rich seam of runs, especially with these bats nowadays.
Blake is forcing to the offside, but Batty fields off his own bowling.
Awesome, this is Bat.
Have a little look at what Blake has done in the competition so far. Didn't bat in the first game, of course. Batty's short, saw him coming. It's just canny bowling, isn't it? It's Blake just going down the wicket and Batty just holding it back.
Yeah.
Dot balls, bit of pressure mounting.
Second or third mind there, I think, Alex Blake.
Cutting, and cutting well as well. Backward point racing round. Blake wants 2, and he's going to get 2. Just getting the length he wanted. Didn't come down the wicket that time. Rocked back, backward a square. Picks up a brace.
Well, that'll do, won't it, for the Spitfires for now? If there was one there to put away, put it away. If you can pick up 1s and 2s, in a very comfortable position currently.
Single down the ground. So decent start from Gareth Batty. Just 4 runs off his over, showing all his experience. Kept well placed at 76 for 2.
Just the sound of a little bit of music, even though we don't have any supporters in. By the way, when you do, everyone listening to this and watching this, make your return to the Spitfire ground, which sadly looks as though it's going to be next year, or hopefully next year, I have some great news for you. The Lime Tree Cafe, terrific news. I am genuinely excited by this.
Well, I've just moved forward to the edge of my seat, Steve Watts, so hopefully you're going to share with me what you're about to share with others.
You're going to fall off it when I tell you.
Moriarty's in again. He's bowling to Blake. He's flicked it in the air and he's gone. Blake swats at the ground. He can't believe it. And the introduction of spin is working wonders for Surrey. Moriarty. Just another soft dismissal, you have to say. Disappointed with Zach Crawley to pick out extra cover. It's the same area, albeit on the other side of the wicket because of Blake's left-handedness. It's just full and middle and leg, perhaps a little bit dipping, and the bat face just closed. I think he was trying to go straight or down to long on. Picks out mid-wicket.
Well, he's doing some job here, isn't he, Daniel Moriarty? He's dragging Surrey right into this game. A couple of wickets now, 2 for 4 he has. Pretty sure the wicket of Zach Crawley just pulled it a little bit shorter. And Crawley couldn't time it that time around. As you say, Blake not quite in control and flicking it straight to mid-wicket. Caught by Reece Topley. So Blake gone for 4. 3 wickets down now. 76 on the board. And Jack Leaning making his way to the middle.
Yeah, Daniel Moriarty, who made his T20 bow against Sussex in the first round of this competition. That game was washed out. None for 29 against Essex. Did take a wicket in that Sussex game. Suddenly, he has 2 for 4. He's in his second over. What a start for the young man. 2 big scalps as well. Crawley, Blake, dangerous batsman. Do his confidence no harm at all, Moriarty. Where did Kent go here? Is it a rebuilding job? They've got to find a way to keep ticking the scoreboard over as well. It's Jack Leaning, who's facing up to Moriarty for his first ball. Straight defence.
Talk about the confidence that's exuding from Zach Crawley and how everyone else can feed off it. How about if you're Daniel Moriarty and you get him out? Can't do your confidence any harm.
Great spin on evidence. It's that one back of a length. Leaning forces into the offside. He's going to jog through for a single. It's not like a wicket that's... It's not a raging turner, is it? It's, if anything, maybe just a little bit hold in the pitch. Maybe not quite skidding on as the batsman would like. I think when people get caught extra cover or mid-wicket, perhaps a slight lack of pace. Sometimes credit to the bowler, gets a bit of drop, but I'm not seeing on our screen much evidence of that.
He might have done for the wicket of Zach Crawley. As you say, if it's a sluggish pitch, we've seen plenty of mistimed shots today, haven't we? Timing not easy.
Okay, just forces up to long off. Pick up a single. You just wonder as well the way Kent have gone, thinking at Lords where they had a game in the bag and they didn't quite get over the line, thinking to the back end of last year where it looked like they were qualifying and then didn't quite get over the line. I remember a game against Surrey here where they were chasing and winning and Surrey reeled them in. It's Leaning just clips into the leg side. They think about hustling up for a second, settle for the single. Whether those kind of memories those kind of ghosts, if you will. It's a bit strong, but you know, one or two memories of not being able to get these kind of games done just kind of starts to prey on your mind. Got to get runs here. It's going to get 4 of them. Fine shot from Heino Kuhn. And that rather breaks the shackles. Moriarty completes his second over, 2 for 11. Just slightly ruining his figures here as Kuhn down on the sweep. Wasn't a bad delivery. He got across and swatted it behind square. He came to join us down here on the boundary boards.
Yes, and well remembered, not picking it up. Well remembered. Don't you dare pick up that ball. 9 overs gone, 83 for 3. See the odd boundary here and there. 1s and 2s elsewhere, and Kent should comfortably get over the line. It's only going to be losing wickets that stops Kent winning this game.
Yeah, and I think, look, if these two can get them most of the way home, maybe Jordan Cox comes in and you know, gets a quick fire 15, 20 just to round things off. It would do wonders for the likes of Cox and for this Kent batting lineup to prove that they can chase things down. As Batty is in, he just punches down to bomb on.
I've been looking forward to this moment for a long time. Seeing Jack Leaning bat for the Kent Spitfires. Terrific addition to the squad, I think this is.
Reverse sweep from Kuhn. It was going to hit middle stump, but he's got a good piece of it. I don't think they're going to come back for 2. Kuhn's quick. He's going to have to scuttle. Oi! As the stump comes out, Ben Folkes, not content just to whip the bails off, it's just obliterated the furniture. It's a good bit of running from Heino Kuhn. Those the orange pads and the blue shoes, they were working overtime.
They were, and the kind of orangey, reddish stumps as well. Made a mess of those, didn't he, Ben Folkes? But the dive was in, and Heino Kuhn was well in.
Batty's in again, and has that kind of rather exasperated yelp, as if Kuhn's just played all round a straight one, like he was going to go up for an LBW, but whoops, he's hit it. Ben Folkes on screen there, locks blowing in the breeze. Gareth Batty also has some locks, 1 or 2 bits missing. He's in, bowling to Leaning, who pushes down to long on for another single. Decent over this from the Spitfires, just ticking things along. 88 for 3.
Yes, Gareth Batty is not quite having the hirsute struggle, is he, that several others are having due to lockdown and bubbles and things. Batty's managing better than most.
Experience is into Heino Kuhn, who's shaped to cut. The ball turned a little bit, cramped him for room, and he bit of an ugly swat down the ground. He'll take the single. A spin there for Gareth Batty, who's always been able to extract turn if there's any to be found in a pitch. Getting through their overs quickly at the moment, Surrey. Down the wicket, Leaning, clips, misfield. He'll be looking for 2, it's in the gap. Want to come back, Hood is so quick. Another appeal, but he's back. He's diving all over the place, Heino Kuhn. He does so in the field, he likes to dive in when he bats as well.
We mentioned Heino Kuhn's fielding and how with age it doesn't seem to have dropped any standards, and he's still so quick, isn't he, between the wickets. Gets the dive in. That was one of those little appeals that was only made because the bails have come off. No other reason. Comfortably home.
Just looking at Heino Kuhn's coordination here with his colours. He's got the orange straps, the blue shoes, the pink bat handle, the pink gloves. The pink colour works quite well with the shirt, but I'm not sure it does with the straps.
Moriarty's having a good time of things. He's in here to start a new over to Heino Kuhn, who bowls him down to long off for a single. So we're just over halfway through the Spitfires run chase. The Spitfires are well past halfway in terms of a target. They are 3 wickets down, but in terms of run rate, went on top of things here. But another wicket or 2 and things can turn. So Jack Leaning and Heino Kuhn looking to put together a healthy partnership here and get Kent close to, if not over the line. As Leaning steps back, cuts down to deep, backward square on the offside, behind square on the offside, and he will pick up a single there. Leaning moves on to 7 at a runner ball.
Yeah, the required run rate just over 7. the while it's under 8s. Should be a stroll. They won't want the dots to mount up.
3 wickets column to increase at all either, as Heino Kuhn is picking up a single up to the cover boundary.
Just think how the Surrey batsman targeted the spinner early in the over. Imran Kayum was hit to the fence. I think 3 of his 4 overs, first ball.
He only had 3 overs in the end, didn't he? So I think it happened all 3 of them.
Yeah.
Belted away this time around by Jack Leaning, and belted away for 4 just in front of the electronic scoreboard. Scott Borthwick's going to pick it up, but he's going to be picking it up the wrong side of the rope as far as Surrey are concerned. Leaning has 11. Spitfires approaching the 100 here, 98 for 3.
This is a really good shot from Jack Leaning. Moriarty just pulling this one down. It was short, it wasn't that short, but he latched onto it. It was past Scott Borthwick in a flash.
Too short, was he? But he got it away nicely. He's gone offside this time. He's picked out Gareth Batty. He's at backward point. Won't be a run that time around. Moriarty had a great start his first couple of overs. 2 for 18 with a ball remaining of his 3rd, so still very healthy figures as he bowls to Leaning. Just drags that one down a fraction. Jack Leaning is happy to put it through square leg and pick out Gus Atkinson and pick up a single, keep the strike. 99 for 3. It's another 63 for victory here from 9 overs.
Jack Leaning has moved pretty swiftly on to 12. Better than the run of ball. Heino Kuhn 15 off 11. I was just looking at that field to Moriarty. Jack Leaning was on strike. He dabbed that one straight to Gareth Batty. Gareth Batty at back point, Hashim Amla at short 3rd man. 79 years between them. Just think if you can just get that ball in the gap, make the old fellas work. It looks like it's going to be Borthwick who's being introduced. Pace off the ball, so often a tactic in T20 cricket. Man who made his test debut, of course, in Sydney, Scott Borthwick, as a leg spinner, but more renowned for his run getting than his wicket taking these days.
Who's got 79 years between them?
Well, Hashim Amla at 37,
yeah,
and Gareth Batty at 42.
Right. I'm just wondering if, when they're together, they should be shielding. Scott Borthwick, who's at the pavilion end. Sorry, that one was brewing for a couple of seconds there. Just had to come out of my mouth, otherwise I'd probably explode. So here is Scott Borthwick, past the flashy orange stripes of Heino Kuhn, and Jack Leaning's pulling this one around the corner and pulling it away for 4. That's all quite comfortable for Jack Leaning, and the Spitfires are into 3 figures, 103 for 3.
Yeah, well, I think introducing Scott Borthwick at this stage represents something of a gamble by Gareth Batty. Spin was doing a good job. Moriarty and Batty were getting a little bit of a squeeze on this Kent innings. So Batty thinking, okay, we'll take the pace off again. Maybe if we can get an over or 2 out of Borthwick, it means one of the seamers won't have to come back. Perhaps Atkinson.
Borthwick got as a reply. He's about to appeal. But the real problem for him is that Jack Leaning got it off the bat, but the appeal was coming. It was there, wasn't it? He was ready for it.
Yeah, just having a quiet word with Nigel Long. Lovely fella, Scott Borthwick. Real character. Just be saying to the umpire, oh, he's pretty straight. Nigel, wasn't it pretty straight if he misses that?
Yeah, getting ready for the next one. This one's just a fraction outside off stump. And that Jack Leaning pushes that one down to Will Jacks, who's just in front of the Frank Woolley stand. Stand by that gap there between the Cowdrey and Woolley stands, where normally we have a little throng of people watching. As Borthwick bowls to Heino Kuhn, this does take the pad, so it does bring about the instinctive appeal, which lasts probably half a second. Through for another one to the total. 105 for 3. Another 57. Interested to keep an eye on that Duckworth-Lewis total on the board. Fine shot from Jack Leaning, cutting, getting it through extra cover and getting it for 4. So I was excited about seeing Jack Leaning. I've been waiting a long time for this. He's moved on to 21 so far. He's not disappointed me. 109 for 3.
Yeah, and what he's done well, he's put the bad ball away. Borthwick with a couple of long hops. Both have gone for 4. And that's all Kent need to do, really. Tick the the ball along with ones and twos, and when the bad one comes along, capitalise.
Absolutely, and this game should be comfortable. But this is the end of Jack Leaning. He's looking to pull Borthwick away. Maybe a little bottom edge there through to Ben Folkes by the looks of things. Nigel Long's finger was up quick enough. And that is the end of Jack Leaning. Gone for 21, caught behind. Trying to get Scott Borthwick away on the leg side. Bottom of the bat by the looks of things. Leaning's gone.
Yeah, he looks absolutely disconsolate, doesn't he, Jack Leaning? What a great catch from Ben Folkes, the best keeper in the land. It's just you think that one's going to be pulled away. It gets a bottom edge on him a little bit, the batsman. And for Folkes to just keep his weight forward and his weight down, watch that ball into his gloves, cracking keeping. It brings Jordan Cox out into the middle. He's got a job to do here. Just went at under a runner ball in that high-scoring game at Lords, which, if we look at a scorecard, I'd say cost Kent the game. He was just ticking it around, but I think, oh, maybe I could have gone a little bit quicker. That's what you do as a player when your team doesn't quite win a match. What could I have done better? It'll be an interesting learning experience, that game at Lords, and see if he can take it into this one.
Surrey will feel, won't they, if they can just keep chipping away with a wicket here and a wicket there. They're keeping themselves in this game. That was Lewis Stern measurement I was talking about on the board. 98 with the fall of that fourth wicket. 98 in this over, I presume. 109 for 4 is the current score.
Yeah, it's probably worth noting as well, Ken, have a little bit of a tail. Kayam, Klassen, Milnes, Grunewald. They can all bat, particularly Milnes and Grunewald. But
Daniel Moriarty, who's starting a new over, his final over this will be, and he's left behind a particularly favourable impression so far. He'll be looking to finishing off this fourth and final over of his spell. It starts with a single to Heino Kuhn, bringing the new batsman Jordan Cox on to strike.
And credit to Gareth Batty as well. He made that change with Scott Borthwick. I said it represented a gamble. Did go for a couple of fours, did bowl a couple of long hops, but that's sometimes what a leg spinner can give you. The odd bad ball, but it's still dangerous, and he's got his man.
Moriarty to Cox. Now talk about confidence. First ball, you get the reverse out, you get the reverse sweep out, you nail it, and it goes for 4. First ball.
First ball, and I tell you what, if he missed it, it would have plucked out middle stump as well, because his pad went right across, he got his legs out of the way. And we have a little look at this one on replay. Here we go. Hell of a shot this one was. Moriarty here. This is hitting the middle and leg. He just nailed it back with a square. What a great start from Jordan Cox. And I said, maybe, just thinking about what happened at Lords, keen not to get bogged down.
Oh, this is going to be close. Yeah, it's gone. That was pretty straight. And Jordan Cox, who's shuffling across his stumps, is nailed bang in front. And this is starting to get a little bit concerning for the Spitfires here with a 5th wicket down. Daniel Moriarty's having a great time of things. Don't think we would have needed a team review for that, should we have had one?
No, I think Jordan Cox was almost walking. Having brought the reverse sweep out, it was almost like he was determined just to work that into the leg side. Didn't get the length. Moriarty was bowling quite quickly. That one skidded through on him. And even with the slope, that was only going to hit middle and leg. Maybe would have even skidded into middle. So just some concerns for Kent here. They've got the experience of Heino Kuhn, but they're amongst the all-rounders and the bowlers. Cox has gone for 4. So Grant Stewart, dangerous man with the bat. But Kent are going to need an innings from him.
They are. It's hard to think that Grant Stewart's going to stay there and knock ones and twos around particularly comfortably, but if he can do that and give majority of the strike to Heino Kuhn, Kent will still be in a good position. But 5 wickets down now, and as you mentioned, it is a lengthy-ish tail, particularly with regard to T20 cricket.
Well, what it does do is it puts a lot of pressure on that man there with 4 on his back, and the orange straps and the pink gloves and the blue shoes of Heino Kuhn, because he knows that if he was to get out now, then there really is a lack of experience in getting over the line with bat in hand in this position. So he's got to be there at the end if Kent, I think, are going to win this game. And if he is, and the likes of Stewart and Milnes and Grunewald play a decent hand, then Kent could still do this quite comfortably. But Heino Kuhn will know responsibility of parenthood, and now the responsibility of trying to see Kent home.
Moriarty bowling to Grant Stewart. The important figure for Kent Spitfires to remember here, with 7 overs and 2 balls to go, is it's 48 to win. So in terms of runs on the board, they're in a very good position. But Moriarty's having a great day here. He bowls to Grant Stewart, who can only pick out Laurie Evans, who's inside the circle at mid-wicket. Moriarty, 1 ball to go to finish off. An excellent day for him with the ball. 3 for 24 from his 3 overs and 5 balls so far. Final ball of his spell will be to the right-handed Grant Stewart. Oh, strange shot that was. He's going to get a single for it. Had a bit of golf in that one. So that ends the 13th over, 115 for 5. Grant Stewart's off the mark. Terrific day for Daniel Moriarty, 4 overs, 3 for 25.
Yeah, well bowled, young man. When he came into the attack, kept plain sailing, wasn't it? At that point, Zach Crawley going beautifully. So he got rid of him. Then Blake, then Cox, and just 1 or 2 nerves now. And Kent's too strong to say kind of mental frailties when it comes to chasing these targets down when you're ahead of the game. The opener's going so well. I think this is a really good opportunity for Kent's middle order to show what they're all about, to show that they've learned from some of these recent games of recent past. But how will Stewart play this? I think you're right. 1s and 2s perhaps not his game. He's got a strong arm of few when they come into his areas. Be prepared to hit his boundaries.
Gareth Batty starting a new over to Grant Stewart. Now that'll do. Just knocking it away to Laurie Evans. Down in front of the Frank Woolley stand for a single, and getting Heino Kuhn back onto strike. Heino Kuhn on 16 from 13 balls, 116 for 5 as Batty's in again. Just thought he was going to chip that up for a moment, Heino Kuhn.
Yeah, 7 and over is a funny old run chase as well, because you think, well, you just knock it around for 1s and 2s, but invariably there'll be some dots. So you have to find a boundary from time to time.
Another single out to the mid-wicket boundary. I was just thinking 117 for 5. If it's 117 for 3, you're sitting there quite comfortable, aren't you? 117 for 5, you're thinking, well.
Yeah, well, sometimes you need 10, 11 and over. Your hand is forced. You have to play shots.
There's Grant Stewart, who's whacking that one down to long on. So this is the right thing here, isn't it? Get the one, get Heino Kuhn back on strike. He's the one you think who's going to hopefully see Kent across the line here. The Spitfires, as Bat is in for another. A reverse sweep this time for Heino Kuhn, who's going to pick up 4 runs for it. Gus Atkinson gave up the chase pretty early on there. Fine connection from Heino Kuhn. Just relieve a little bit of that pressure that's been building with a boundary.
Yeah, I was watching the cricket yesterday that was on Sky with my youngest. He said, Dad, 2020, he said, T20 Blast in 2020 has been all about the reverse sweep. He said, all teams play it well.
There's another. This time he does pick out the fielder, Heino Kuhn, so he'll just get a single this time around.
Yeah, 123 for 5 off 14. 39 runs. Just over a run a ball, 5 wickets remaining. If Kuhn can just see it through, should still be fairly comfortable for Kent, but another couple of wickets. And this is another good move from Gareth Batty, bringing his strike bowler back into the fray. Reece Topley, his international bowler. You've seen his international batsman in Hashim Amla, Rory Burns, do their thing with the bat. And now Topley wants to come to the party if Surrey to win this. 2 overs for 17. Bowled well, I thought, in the first couple of overs without luck.
He did, didn't he? He'd have to go down into the category of pretty experienced now for me, Reece Topley. And interesting with the spin options that Batty's still got an over left of himself. He's still got Scott Borthwick he can bring in, but it's gone back to Reece Topley.
And he's one of the real good stories of county cricket, Reece Topley. 3 back operations, it might even be more. To Essex, to Hampshire, to Sussex, to Surrey.
Slower ball this time, slower, shorter ball, and Heino Kuhn just turns it around behind square for 4, easy as you like. And again, a boundary here and a boundary there. And this pressure will start to ease a little bit for the Kent Spitfires.
Yeah, and this is what Surrey can ill afford. I mean, it was a slower ball, but it was a long hop as well. If he'd have maybe hit the top of off stump with that kind of delivery, it would have been useful. But just a bit of a drag down. Heino Kuhn's not going to miss out on that, so he's doing his bit. 26 off 18.
35 left for Kent to chase down here. This time around, they take a quick single. That, my word, might have been tight. Topley sort of flicks it backhand towards the stumps that Grant Stewart is running towards. Misses. And it is another run to the total, 128 for 5. Nothing better, though, is there, to release pressure than the boundary off the first ball of the over?
No, correct. And Grant Stewart will be grateful for his mate at the other end doing just that. I just wonder whether Gareth Batty can get a squeeze on here. Fielder's just come in a little bit tighter to Grant Stewart. Still lots of boundary riders.
Reece Topley, left arm around the wickets. Can't quite stop it on his own bowling. So Grant Stewart will pick up a single. Exactly what the Kent Spitfires would want from him. Get a single, keep the scoreboard ticking, get Heino Kuhn back on the strike. 3 balls gone of this 15th over. The watery sunshine now at the Spitfire ground, not complaining, not after the other day. Slower ball, a loopy one from Reece Topley's. Punch through the onside. They hesitate before coming for the second. It's going to be tight, this. My word. There was hesitation as they turned for the second. It was there. For a moment I thought Heino Kuhn was going to have to get the dive out. He didn't, and he made it. I think the mouth had the heart in it for just a split second there.
Yeah, he likes to take him on between the wickets. He's lightning fast, isn't he? Sure. He's been sleeping with a newborn in the house, but certainly electric between the wickets.
Another single for him here. To the mid-wicket boundary. Brings Grant Stewart back onto strike for this final ball of the 15th over. 132 for 5, so it's another 30 for the Spitfires to chase down from the final 5 overs of this game. So it's 6 and over. That in itself not a problem.
This is just Heino Kuhn's second game for Kent in 2020. 140 and 17 at Chelmsford.
So no run there as Grant Stewart pushes into the offside. Reece Topley fields on an extended follow through. Reece Topley has no wicket for 26 from 3 overs. 5 remain, and for victory here the Kent Spitfires are chasing 30. The victory target 162. Grant Stewart has 4. Heino Kuhn, he's the real important fixture here. You feel he has 30 from 21.
Yeah, 30 exactly what Kent need. Run a ball under blue skies. On a decent, if slightly sluggish pitch. You think it should be straightforward, but always tends to be a twist, doesn't there, in these games? Just thinking back to Heino Kuhn. 140 and 17 at Chelmsford, didn't field on the last day as Essex were chasing down that smallish victory target, as his wife was expecting. They missed the next game, I think, because she was still expecting. When is this baby going to come? And this is just his second game, so good to see him make a decent contribution, hopefully a winning one, as Borthwick continues. Full toss and swings it away to the leg side. Half appeal from Ben Folkes. And, I think it might be a leg by, missed out there. Heino Kuhn just dipped on him. That's going to be the way of the leg spinner.
Yeah, he tilted his head back as he got down to the non-striker's end. Looked skywards. He knows that was a boundary waiting to be hit, but gets away with it. Scott Borthwick.
Borthwick just drying his fingers in the footholds. Tosses the ball from hand to hand. Getting those fingers nice and loose. He's been bowling to Grant Stewart. Better delivery. He's cutting off quite a full length. He's going to get a single down to deep cover where Atkinson fields. Another one ticked off.
Just beginning to burn up a little here. Sun's just dip below our gazebo. You're okay, you're in the shade, but I'm getting it in my right cheek. Complain ye not.
Can't worry about the sun. Better delivery from Borthwick. And Kuhn is driving. Bottom of the bat, didn't time it. Well, Jack's doing the fielding, but another single, and that's all Kent need at the moment. Just wonder if Gareth Batty has to gamble, has to bring a fielder up. Perhaps to Kuhn, actually. Because Stewart, we know, can give it a thump. But if we can get rid of Kuhn, maybe bring long on, long off up, make him hit over the top. Need to force an error from these Kent batsmen. Borthwick cutting is Stewart. And once again, a repeat of 2 balls ago, Atkinson does the fielding. And Kent keeping up with this run rate fairly comfortably.
Cutting that one off stump, pretty much. Proving fruitful for Grant Stewart, though, isn't it, that shot? And as we keep saying, doing the right thing. He's picking up a single. He's got the scoreboard ticking. He's getting Heino Kuhn back onto strike.
Kuhn also cutting. So once again does the fielding. I guess Surrey here will just be hoping that Borthwick can get that one to skid. Like the one of the counter for leaning. Just every now and again the leg spinner, maybe he's got a little bit of a kind of a pushed out the front of the hand, just skids a little bit, kind of a Shane Warne in his flipper. Variations of. Stewart is cutting. It looked like the wrong on that time. But ended up dragging it to the leg side where there's no run. Well bowled Scott Borthwick. 5 off the over. No damage done to Kent. 137 for 5.
Looking to cut again, wasn't he, Grant Stewart? Looking to go offside. In the end, adjusted. Made an ungainly looking sort of pull shot into the onside. 4 overs to go. Kent Spitfires need 25 more here. Heino Kuhn has 32. Grant Stewart 6. It's 137 for 5. And Gareth Batty with some key decisions to make here about who he's going to bowl.
Yeah, key decisions, and from a Kent perspective, they'll be keen not to leave it to the last over. After what happened at Lord's, was it 4? James might be able to tell me. Was it 4 off the last over? 4 or 5 required? Yeah, anything can happen when you get into the last over. Surrey needing 1 off 2 deliveries. You think it's straightforward. Suddenly there's a wicket and then a run out. And cruising to victory can suddenly go very wrong very quickly. So it's Matt Dunn for the Nackington Road End, reintroduced into the attack. It's got some pace. Got a good slower ball as well. So Kent will be keen to finish this with an over to spare, will be my guess. It's going to be Heino Kuhn on strike. Clubbing this away, backward of square. It's a fine shot. Thumps into the boards, and that is exactly what Kent would have wanted. 4 off the first ball, takes all the pressure off. So far, so good. 141 for 5.
Cracking shot, perfectly timed. Exactly what the Kent Spitfires wanted. 4 runs off the first ball. Matt Dunn back into the attack. Heino Kuhn, proper shot, cut away, 4 runs. It's 21 for victory now.
Exactly what Heino Kuhn would want. A bit of width, a bit of pace on the ball. He can just help it behind square. What has Dunn got him? Way of a riposte. Another short one. It's cut away quite hard, extra cover. Diving and parrying. Grant Stewart thinks about a second. No risks taken. Heino Kuhn actually doing the fielding, catching the ball as it's returned in. Very decent of him.
All the way through that single, Grant Stewart was thinking about a second, wasn't he? Head turned a few times. Probably was there, but the last thing you need now is a run out.
Yeah, correct. Dunn is in. It brings Stewart on to strike. Thumps this off the back foot. Pull stroke, pretty straight. Gonna get a single. That'll get Kuhn back on strike.
But these baseball shots that we've seen several of today, where batsmen are pulling and it's going in the V, would that be a case that the pitch is a bit sluggish and that's why they're going in that area?
Yeah, and it also gives an indication of the length that Surrey are bowling. They're looking to hit the pitch, which I think is probably the right tactic. If you bowl full, it's been able to be driven. Yorker this time from Dunn. Kuhn flicking away on the leg side, thinking about a second. They're going to get a second as well. It's great running. We know Kuhn's quick, but Stewart, no hesitation. He was back, and that is excellent cricket from Kent. Fielders quite a long way back on the boundary. Kuhn getting it off the bottom of the bat. Just took all the sting out of it, dropped it short of the inner ring, and they scampered back for pretty comfortable 2.
Yeah, they did. Brilliant. Straight away, looking for 2 there. They just kind of dribbled, didn't they? And as you say, the fielders out there are right on the boundary's edge, right on the rope, so Anyways, the worse you hit it, the more likely you are to get a couple.
Kuhn pulling this time. Bouncer from Matt Dunn. It's all the way out to Gus Atkinson at deep square. Well in control of that. Just rolled the wrist, kept it down, not looking to hit it for 6. Just all the risk taken out of that stroke. Another 1 to the total. 16 to win for Kent.
A terrific match involving these two. The Bob Willis Trophy game, was it last week it finished up? Was a terrific affair, wasn't it? Especially that final day. Love to have been there.
Oh, swing and a miss from Grant Stewart. It was a Yorker length, maybe even a low full toss. He was kind of aiming wide of long on. Might have been better advised to play straight and hit it down the ground. So dot ball to finish. But the boundary early on in that over means that Kent are cruising along at the moment. Another 16 required. 3 overs remain. I'm not going to say in the bag, Steve.
It's not, is it? It's not.
But after what happened at Lord's, you never know. It's very much advantage Kent.
Absolutely. Grant Stewart's looked to play pretty much everything off the back foot so far. Got a fuller length delivery to finish off that over. Couldn't resist winding up a bit for it. Thankfully he misses everything. And he's still there. And as you say, 16 to win, 18 balls to get them, 146 for 5. Gareth Batty making plenty of changes here. Changes to the field. He's bringing back Reece Topley. Topley is 1 over to go. And he will be into the attack from the pavilion end. So you feel like this is the crucial over here. If Topley can break through, Surrey will feel they're hanging in this.
Yeah, well, he's going to have to either bowl himself, Gareth Batty, or one of his less experienced campaigners. This is Topley's last, 3 overs for 26. He's going to be bowling to Heino Kuhn, who's driving. Good stop from Topley. It's a dot ball. That's what the doctor ordered for Surrey. What they really want, of course, is Kuhn out. If they get rid of the diminutive South African, suddenly it's game on again.
Yeah, it is. Kent need to come through this over the Spitfires unscathed, don't they? As you say, if they can break through, particularly if it's Heino Kuhn, Surrey are back in it.
He's in and Kuhn is flicking, driving. Get along on. There's going to be a single. Laurie Evans was positioning himself exactly in my line of sight, blocking my view of the batsman. It's most inconsiderate. So Kent take the single, so that brings Stewart on strike, who has done nothing flash as he's 7 off 12, is not spectacular. He stopped the flow of wickets and that was key.
He's done exactly the right thing, hasn't he? He's got Heino Kuhn back onto strike very effectively, and he's still there. 7 off 12 it may be, but he's done exactly the right thing for his team.
So he's round the wicket. Stewart is flashing and missing, and this is turning out to be a decent over so far from Reece Topley, using all his experience. Just 1 or 2 field changes from Gareth Batty. Square leg, that ball came up from the fence. Ben Folkes, the wicket keeper, lots of experience there as well. He'll be getting the angles, making sure the fielders are in the right spot. But square leg is up, so they're trying to save 1 where they can. Sorry. Another swing and a miss from Grant Stewart, looking at Nigel Long like he might want a wide, just giving himself a little bit of room. Just needs to not panic here, the big fella. 7 off 14, but plenty of balls left.
Mentioned a few overs ago the terrible injuries that Reece Topley's endured, but he's showing all his experience here. This is a terrific over. A couple of balls to go.
Stewart get bat on this one as Topley's in slower ball and he swats it away, and it's going to go over extra cover, and Grant Stewart finds the fence. That's going to ease the pressure as Kent bring up their 150, 151. They're inside of the finish line now. Just another 11 to win. Grant Stewart has come to the party.
Just feel he needed that. Reece Topley was bowling a terrific over. He'd beaten Grant Stewart a couple of times. This time around, Grant Stewart gets the better of the argument, slapping one away through extra cover for 4. Brings the target down to 11.
Stewart's first boundary, that'll make him feel a little bit better. It's Topley got by way of reply. Full toss, smacked away. They're going to be hustling for 2, and Kuhn will get 2 because he's lightning fast. Good return from Borthwick over the bails. But once again, the back end of an over from Reece Topley has cost him. Really good start, but the final 2 balls, conceding 6. Kent played another decent over. Just 9 to win, 153 for 5.
Yeah, that was a terrific over, wasn't it? And it ended up costing 7. And that's plenty good enough for the Kent Spitfires. So Grant Stewart needed that 4, and terrific running again. The final ball of the over to come back 4-2. So the target runs remaining to get his 9 with 2 overs to go. We were talking towards the back end of that Surrey innings about maybe getting up towards 170. Be interesting now if they'd scored that, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And as well as Amler and Burns play, dissect a performance a couple of days after when they all sit down, could they have gone a little bit harder with those 7 wickets in hand? They played pretty well, those 2, in fairness. Has done his into Kuhn. He drives. A bit of an inside part of the bat. It's going to run away for a single. Atkinson at deep square does the fielding. And this is where Batty has really got to earn his corner as captain in terms of trying to bring a fielder or 2 up, because ones will win it for Kent. Batty will also know that a couple of blows from the big batter Grant Stewart will also win it for Kent. So there's a balancing act. No field change at the moment. It's done his in again. Short ball, it's up in the air. It could go all the way. It could be out, but it's going for 6, I think. It's a despairing effort. Well, I think that might be Rory Burns back there at long off, but Grant Stewart, 4 in the previous over, 6 in this one. He is bringing the Spitfires home. A few Kent fans, including ourselves, would have had heart in mouth at that point, but it was, well, enough club, as we like to say. What a shot.
Just had the legs, didn't it? Just had the legs. Kept on going, a few centimetres far enough. I don't want those baseball type shots though, which has gone over long off and gone all the way for 6.
Well, he's a strong man, Grant Stewart, and I don't think that was the middle of the bat. Looked on the replay as if it was quite low down, but he's muscled it over long off. And Kent on the brink. I think they're learning from what happened at Lords. They don't want to take it into the last over. They're going to try and finish it in this one. Just 2 to win. Dunn comes into Stewart. Turned away on the leg side. They're going to be looking for 2. There's a run and they're going to scamper back, and this could be the winning run. It is indeed. Grant Stewart brings the Spitfires home. It's a rather subdued celebration. That's what happens when you're missing 6,000 fans, Steve Watts. But the players are going to shake hands, and Kent have got home with 9 balls to spare. They've won here by 5 wickets.
And what a terrific innings by Grant Stewart, by the way. Finishes up with 21 not out from 18 balls. I'm sure his natural instinct is to come in and to hit boundaries. He likes to give the ball a smash. He didn't do that. He took singles. He got Heino Kuhn as much strike as possible. Heino just did what Heino does up the other end. And then just at the very end, Grant Stewart, look, we're not going to muck about here. We're going to finish this off. I think that's a terrific knock from Grant Stewart. You're talking about one of your, are we going to call him all-rounder category? That is a terrific knock, and Heino Kuhn with his 42, absolutely invaluable. And Kent Spitfires in the end, it's comfortable, but 162 for 5 with, 9 balls to spare. It is comfortable, but it was nervy for a while.
Yeah, 162 for 5 doesn't tell the whole story, does it? Because when Jordan Clocks played all round that straight one from Daniel Moriarty, 114 for 5. We were in the 13th. Kent had a bit of a wobble on, but Kuhn showing all his experience. This is his second game for Kent, his first in this competition. Second game for Kent this year, of course. And then Grant Stewart, 7 off 14 he was at one stage. And he'd been really watchful. He, as you said, just got Heino Kuhn on strike. And then crash bang wallop, 4-6-2, and suddenly it's all over. Well played.
Yeah, it seems strange to say it, doesn't it, with a strike rate of about 50. What a good knock it was, but it was exactly what Kent needed at that time. Wickets had gone quickly, 5th wicket fell, and it was that of Jordan Cox, who came in with a reverse sweep, got it for 4, was out next ball. It was 114 for 5 at that point. Kent never had any worries with the run rate. That was always well in hand, particularly with the start that Daniel Drummond and Zach Crawley are given the Spitfires. Run rate was never a problem. Wickets could have been, and that's why that innings of Grant Stewart's was invaluable to the Kent Spitfires.
Absolutely, Steve, and I think it kind of puts those demons to rest as well. You think of what happened at Lords and what happened at the back end of last year's campaign, just an opportunity to chase down a score like 160 and do it in style. 9 balls to spare was the key bit for me. Yes, 5 wickets, but to just not take it to that final over, because strange things happen. Last 2 or 3 balls of an innings, you know, someone bowls a crackerjack Yorker, and then there's a mix-up or a run-out, or you hit it down someone's throat, and all of a sudden you can snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. But credit to Heino Kuhn with that innings of 42 and a fine partnership with Grant Stewart. Still a little bit of batting to come, but Kent have won here at the Spitfire ground. They're off and running in the win column in this year's Vitality Blast after a 0 result because of the weather and a tied game last time out. So we will bring you a bit of a post-match reaction as and when we get it. But for now, we'd like to thank our sponsors and partners and show you some ads.
From your kids' school, the buildings on your way home, the place you live and the places we cherish, Redeck and their award-winning team have been refurbishing, redecorating, protecting and conserving buildings, churches, railway stations, colleges, cafes and castles across the county of Kent for over 30 years. Redeck, Chartered Building Contractors of Kent.
So the Spitfire ground bathed in sunshine as Kent record their first victory in this year's Vitality Blast T20 campaign. And it was pretty convincing with Heino Kuhn and Grant Stewart bringing the team home, winning by 5 wickets, 9 balls to spare. But I guess, Steve, the bulk of the work was done early in the piece. We mustn't forget those 3 early wickets, which just got Surrey behind the 8 ball. It meant the likes of Amler and Rory Burns had to rebuild and couldn't post the kind of score that would have been more challenging.
No, indeed so. Terrific rebuilding job, wasn't it, by Rory Burns and Hashim Amla. Surrey would have been in quite a big hole without them. Never quite able to push on, probably towards a target that Surrey might have felt more confident of defending. But as you mentioned during the game, the pitch did seem to be a little bit on the sluggish side. We saw a lot of mistimed shots. We saw several of the wickets being the result of mistimed shots. So perhaps that 160, 161 was a better total than we gave it credit for. But the start, yet again, that Zach Crawley and Daniel Bell-Drummond gave to the Kent Spitfires when they were chasing down that total, put them well ahead of the run rate. And despite that little wobble around about 12 over mark, and those wickets fell quickly, the fact they were always ahead of the rate meant in the end there weren't too many worries. But it was nervy for a while.
It was nervy for a while. It was particularly nervy when Daniel Moriarty was doing his thing. When you think that a combination of Alex Blake and Imran Khayyam, their 4 overs combined went for 38. Daniel Moriarty, 4 overs, 3 for 25. He had the experience of Gareth Batty up the other end for a while as well. Scott Borthwick also went at just 6.5. So Surrey's spin threat just threatened to cause a wobble or two. But how nice to have an experienced man like Heino Kuhn returning. He's had that layoff. His wife's given birth to their daughter and no doubt enjoyed her. And then coming back to Kent and probably feeling that he's got a bit to do, having been away for a few weeks, and brought the team home with professionalism and a lot of know-how.
Yeah, we always felt, didn't we, that Heino Kuhn was crucial. If he was there at the end, Kent Spitfires would win this game. It's turned out to be the case. As we mentioned just towards the end of the game, give Grant Stewart full credit for the innings that he played. I'm sure his instincts are to come out and start smashing it. That's what he normally does for Kent when he's got a bat in his hand. But he came out and played superbly. Made sure that he kept his wicket intact. Made sure that he got Heino Kuhn on strike as much as possible. Kept picking up those ones. And it was a partnership in the end that got the Kent Spitfires over the line comfortably enough. But Heino Kuhn, all that experience, he would have known, wouldn't he? He would have known that if he was there at the end, Spitfires would notch up their first victory of the Vitality Blast campaign for 2020. And I suppose his reward is to get home, and change a few nappies? Is that how he's going to celebrate?
Yeah, well, you're going to speak to him in a little bit, aren't you? You can ask that question, ask how he's been sleeping, ask how he's going to celebrate. But yeah, it sets Kent up nicely, doesn't it, in this